is ESPN on ABC.
Sowed with intention, rooted in purpose. The HBCU football story is nurtured on a foundation of pride, growing to more than just a game, into a celebration.
A dynasty is born.
The fruits of the labor reveal the impact of legacy and culture, reaching, rising, becoming the pinnacle of black college football. From the highest of 7 hills to the summit.
You look at the emotion there on Buddy Pugh.
Culminating into a divine decade of progress on and off the field.
Everybody go get some.
Now let me go. The HBCU National Championship. Too black, too strong in the ATL.
We absolutely got to have your best.
This is 10 years of greatness at the Cricket Celebration Bowl. Oh, the moment has arrived, and today we will crown a national champion. South Carolina State, their road from the MEAC out of Orangeburg, South Carolina, back here to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And how about the champions out of the Southwestern Athletic Conference, ready to go for the Panthers of Prairie View A&M, making their first ever appearance here as we say hello and what's up, fam, along with the Black College Football Hall of Famer, Jay Walker. I'm Tiffany Green. The rest of our great crew will join us momentarily. All right, Jay, this is a moment that everybody marks on their calendar at the start of the season. And to make it here for South Carolina State and Prairie View A&M, they can stem to the top.
Yeah, and I think you have to look at the projections, what everybody thought from the outside world. Many people expected South Carolina State to be here. They're the reigning champions out of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. They took care of their business. They have not lost a conference game in 2 years. When we take a look at Prairie View A&M, nobody, and I repeat, nobody, including us, Tiff, expected Prairie View to be here. The team that came in there under a first-year head coach, they exceeded all expectations, and they're one game away from an HBCU national championship.
The Panthers certainly on a prowl, but they're going to go up against a seasoned, storied, steady program, as you mentioned, Jay, in South Carolina State, trying to add to their championship legacy.
You know, South Carolina State's a school that has 4 Pro Football Hall of Famers and a number of players in the NFL right now. Their style of football is to push you around. They play bully ball. They back down from nobody. They must control the line of scrimmage. And if South Carolina State wants to get that HBCU national championship to add to their repertoire, they're going to need to protect their quarterback, Billy Atkins, their playmaker.
On the opposite sideline, let's go Prairie View. Let me take a line out of Drake's page, right? Started from the bottom, now we hear, that Prairie View.
That Prairie View has an opportunity to become the Prairie View. That Prairie View, the one that had the longest losing streak in the history of college football, has an opportunity to win a game today and become the Prairie View, which would mean they would be the HBCU national champions.
First time on this stage, both coaches ready to pour into their teams and get you ready to go.
I'm proud to be your coach. I love you. You make sure you love each other. And listen. Let's go beat their ass. Let's go beat their ass. Let's go.
That's right, let's go grab it.
All disrespect must be addressed. This team is built for this moment. So let's get ready to go. Let's do what we always do. And let's get ready to go rock and roll. Ain't a whole lot to talk about today, man. What's the matter with the team? What's the matter with the O? What's the matter with the D? What's the matter with the team? Let's get ready to go get it, man. That's it. Everybody gonna get some. Put a little bit. Hey, let's go get it. Let's go get it.
You're watching Capital One Bowl Mania.
Let's get ready as we are ready to rock and roll. You're watching the 2025 Cricket Celebration Bowl from Atlanta. Prairie View A&M, about 45 minutes outside of Houston, made the trek here. First time on this stage, a remarkable season they have had, and they're trying to do something that they haven't done in decades, and that's win a Black College Football National Championship. Meanwhile, South Carolina State, who has been here third time in 5 years, they had the Glory back in 2021 came up short last season. Bulldogs 9-3 overall on the year. They won the toss, will defer, so Prairie View A&M will get the ball first as it's a fair catch as we send it down to the field. And our man, Harry Styles, what you got down there, man?
Yeah, guys, you know, South Carolina State said that they learned from last year's moment to be prepared for this year's moment, but obviously there had to be a change there. That change has been the mantra, which is HTR, hold the rope. Chennis Berry had his team all get 6-inch pieces of rope and said, as long as you hold on to this rope, hold on to each other, we can accomplish our goals. And that goal today is to win a Celebration Bowl championship. Now over to Quint Kesnick, who's got a view of Prairie View.
Prairie View, infamously known for that 80-game losing streak from 1989 to 1998. Those 9 years they didn't win a game. But the transformation under first-year coach Tremaine Jackson has been evident. This is a team, their motto is turn water into wine, and they have thrown out the old and brought in the new. This is a team that won the SWAC championship for the first time in 16 years. They have 70 new faces, from ordinary and imperfect Tiffany to fulfillment and champions.
All right, thanks so much, fellas. We look forward to your reports throughout, from the frontier to the Mecca of the South. Let's say it, Atlanta, Georgia, and Prairie View A&M starting things off. Cameron Peters, the quarterback, the senior out of Missouri City, Texas. Number 4 in purple. We expect to call his name quite a bit. Going to the outside quickly and trying to target Andre Dennis. That pass incomplete with Jalen Levine on the coverage. And boy, we saw Cameron Peters take over in that SWAC championship game last week and that win over Jackson State.
He's the guy that can make it go. 7 interceptions on the year, and of those 7, he threw 4 of those in one game. They're one loss in the season, so ball security will be the key. This is an offense that likes to attack, very balanced. They can throw for 300 yards. They can also rush for 200 yards. In this opening drive, they have to figure out what works best for them against South Carolina State.
Well, South Carolina State always known for their vaunted defense. Shamari Reed in on that tackle, and now 3rd and 9 as Cameron Peters looks to the sideline. 10 wins on the season for Prairie View. An outstanding year for first-year head coach and SWAC coach of the year in Tremaine Jackson. Peters looking across the middle, had a man and just misses Andre Dennis, and that's going to bring up 4th down.
And you saw that drive there, what Prairie View tried to do was spread you out with 4 wide receivers. You saw man-to-man coverage on the outside, but South Carolina State not willing to budge, kept 6 people in the box to defend against the run, particularly the running ability of Cameron Peters to force the punt.
So a quick 3 and out for the Panthers. They called themselves the Black Cats. Adam Atwell back to punt it away. Jalen Johnson ready to receive it. This one coming straight at you. And Johnson moves out of the way. And it's going to be down. It's going to be great starting field position for the Bulldogs of South Carolina State after that 34-yard punt. Well, the grad transfer, Billy Atkins, who comes into this program, 2nd team all-conference, and the way that he has lifted this program, Chennis Berry told us this week, the message to this young man out of Parkton, Maryland, just be patient and take what the defense gives.
He came in with high expectations on the shoulder, just like the rest of this football team. Transferred in from James Madison, so he basically had to win the starting job quickly. He's done that and established that he can be explosive in this Bulldog offense.
So Nigel Johnson in motion, running tighter to the line. And the first play of scrimmage from the Bulldogs. The run from Tyler Smith. Good cut down there by Sterling Roberts as we take a look at today's high-impact players presented by the United States Air Force.
Well, when you're talking about on the offensive side of the football for South Carolina State, they're going to have Jordan Smith get involved. He's a big play wide receiver. He's paid his dues. This is his 3rd time playing in the postseason. They need him to step up like he has all year. And for number 4, Traver Randall, all-conference performer, he has to be involved in the run game as well as the pass game against this offense.
Here on 2nd down, the handoff once again keeps it on the ground. Tyler Smith working for yards. It's going to bring up 3rd and 5 for the Bulldogs.
And you know, one thing I want to see is how does South Carolina State handle the speed of Prairie View A&M? This is one of the fastest FCS programs I've seen in a while. Prairie View flies around on the football. On the first play of the game, the running back for South Carolina State thought he saw daylight to the outside, was tackled quickly at the line of scrimmage. You can't bounce against this team.
Third down conversions, an area where South Carolina State has been successful throughout the season, leading the MEAC at 47%. Now dropping back to pass. Atkins has his man on the outside, completes it to Johnny Jones. The ball comes out, but a first down and move the chains as Eric Zachary was there on the tackle. For South Carolina State, when you talk about this great defense for Prairie View A&M, they are the best passing offense, not only in the MEAC, but one of the tops in the country. 7th best in all of FCS. They average 286 yards in their aerial attack.
Sounds good. However, you're going against the #1 passing scheme defensively in all of FCS football. Prairie View A&M only gives up 128 yards per game in the air.
The flea flicker as Atkins unloads down the seam and misses his man. Nigel Johnson was the intended target, but a number of purple jerseys were around, including Trayvon Randall.
Yeah, they don't give up the deep ball. So what are you trying to do? You're trying to give them some eye candy, trying to do a flea flicker early on. Linebackers do a great job. They recognize this early, and as you mentioned, Randall, #4, able to run underneath that to reroute the wide receiver. This is a very good passing secondary that Prairie View A&M brings to Atlanta.
The graduate student out of Greenwood, Mississippi, the defensive MVP when we talk to the coaches this season, and obviously the top tackler for the Panthers as well in this 3-3-5 stack scheme. On 2nd and 10, and way to get out of the tackle from Tyler Smith, still on his feet, switching field, and a hard-earned loss of 1 there, and coming up to make the play, Denarius Hollywood.
If you cannot run downhill versus Prairie View, you're not going to beat him when you change direction. Missed tackle in the backfield, but you think you're going to outrun those purple jerseys? Look at the defensive linemen. Look at the linebackers coming up, keeping contained, just nowhere to go to. This defense from Prairie View swarms to the football, and I don't think you can beat them going side to side.
Here on 3rd down, line to gain for the Bulldogs will be the 39-yard line for the Panthers. Billy Atkins, who comes in completing 62% of his passes on the season, better than 2,300 yards, and a timeout taken before the snap by South Carolina State.
Timeout.
I think this is a smart timeout here. Early in the football game here, 3rd and 10, you're in midfield. They've got to be thinking, you know what, if we pick up 5 to 6 yards, we may go for it on 4th down. I agree with the timeout. We'll see how it plays out when we come back to the ATL.
Well, South Carolina State out of the MEAC looking to continue their dominance in this Cricket Celebration Bowl. They've doubled up on the SWAC, leading the series 6-3. The South Carolina State Bulldogs looking for their 2nd championship in 5 years. A big 3rd and 11 after the timeout here. The 6th play of this drive, as you see wide receiver stacked to the bottom of your screen. Billy Atkins has plenty of time, but it's swallowed up really quickly as that defense coming through. Sterling Roberts was one of the guys to get there. And the Panthers sacked the quarterback. Sterling Roberts did his job from his middle linebacker position.
Yeah, you know, you take a look at the scheme, you're going to see the man cover, so that's shown to you right away on the outside. You have to recognize that. But then he takes too long to decide, I'm going to get involved. The 2 linebackers were there to spy him. Once he decided to leave the pocket, it was too late. Nowhere to go. Big play for the Prairie View defense.
Matthew Moore, who was also in on that stop. So now, Elliot Yanish on to punt it away. Andre Dennis standing at his own 10, fumbles the football, lost it, it's still on the ground. And Prairie View A&M very fortunate to come up with it as Jacoby Banks recovers it.
And this is just a drop. You know, in the breadbasket, looking at the oncoming would-be tackler. 2 Bulldogs with an opportunity to come up with the fumble recovery. But a good job by Jacoby Banks for Prairie View A&M to keep possession of the football for Prairie View.
By the receiving team, it's 1st down.
And so Cameron Peters and the offense coming back onto the field for the Panthers. He started out well in his opening game of the season against Texas Southern, winning in that nail-biter, and then was benched for a few games because of his approach and preparation, but he's since been inserted back into the starting lineup since that Alcorn State game and has not looked back. Lamontier McDowell on the carry, up ahead, and getting some tough yards and some running room for Prairie View A&M. Hey, folks, if you're not familiar with Prairie View A&M, we're going to let you know a little bit about them. Right outside of Houston, less than an hour, an outstanding campus, absolutely beautiful. One of the oldest public institutions of higher education in the state of Texas, established in 1876, and it has produced a number of notable alumni, but one that stands out football-wise, Jay, their lone Pro Football Hall of Famer in Ken Houston.
Absolutely, in a school that produces a number of engineers, one of the best engineering school programs you'll see in the country.
9,000 plus in undergrad, 11,000 total, known for, as you mentioned, that engineering, agriculture as well.
I missed on that one. I should have known. Anytime you have an A&M university, it's agriculture. How did I miss that one?
That's right. Under the leadership of Dr. Tabikia LeGrand. After that first down conversion, fresh set for the Panthers offense, and outside, and Andre Dennis can't bring it in. It's going to be 2nd and 10.
And what I'm seeing from Prairie View right now is they have to block out the light. They have to block out the light. Trying too hard. We saw a return a muffin kick. This is an offense that is used to attacking, but they have to settle in and figure out what's going to be their best weapon to use right now. Cam Peters, a lot of hot sauce on that last throw there, so settle down a little bit and get back to playing Prairie View style of football.
Yeah, that's what Tremaine Jackson told us in the pregame. Just do us, be us. No one expected us to be here. And here they're playing for a national championship, the first since the 60s, as we send it down to the field with Quinn.
Maybe getting tackled will calm down Cam Peters, because on that first drive, he had 2 really wild overthrows. During the timeout, he was looking at the iPad, had his headset on, talking to the OC upstairs. They talked about the footballs, but he gunned that ball on that little bubble screen. He clearly has to settle down, Cam Peters, quarterback for Prairie View.
And as you said, Q, a lot of times as a quarterback, when you get hit, then you seem to calm down a little bit.
Wide open, and a completion to Andre Dennis, who's been targeted, as mentioned, and guess what? Did you hear our boy Q? That throw was on cue. Took a little something off of it, found his man, easy completion for 20.
Yeah, good job, and the recognition, knowing where to go with the football versus the zone coverage. So maybe after that quarterback draw, getting hit a little bit, Cameron Peters settling down a little bit and start to play his A game.
1st and 10, play action, and just drop in and out of the hands of Cameron Bonner. That would have
been a huge play. I mean, this is what you want. You've got the RPO option, you have the slant route. If the cornerback does not make the tackle, that's a touchdown, but Cameron Bonner not able to hold on to the football to help out his quarterback.
Boy, I tell you, Tremaine Jackson has really loved the maturation and the growth that he has seen from his quarterback. You saw there just telling them to calm down and regather themselves here on 2nd down. And going, he's got a man open, and that's Andre Dennis in stride as he's tripped up a touchdown saving tackle made by Jalen Levine. But a huge gain of 47.
Yeah, good job selling him on the inside slant route. Just turns on the Jets. Perfectly thrown pass from Cam Peters. Caught the defensive back, peeking on the inside shoulder on the slant, guessing. Big play for Prairie View A&M.
And now the Panthers inside the red zone after that explosive play. And here on 1st down, keeping it through the air and going to the outside again, but this time not fooled, but Johnny on the spot. And there to make the tackle is bringing Scott, the rover in that defense for the Bulldogs. Loss of 2.
Take a look at the offensive production in the red zone by Prairie View this year. 37 touchdowns, 9 field goals. They walk away with points, but in the game of this nature, early drive, they would love to get a touchdown to get the 7-point lead.
Delayed handoff to Bingham, and Bingham is tackled by Scott again, so now it's going to bring up 3rd down. and 7. And so here, now you watch this play of 10 yards to this point. They were able to recover that football, drive down thus far 81 yards down the field. They're taking some time. What's Chennis Berry's defense got to do to hold?
Well, they automatically going to take away the quarterback draw. You saw the film from a week ago. They like to run their quarterback on quarterback draws in this situation, but you cannot continue to leave your defensive backs on an island.
Through the air, coming across, and Josiah Rockwell is held up short. The tackle made by Jared Washington, one of those impact players you talked about, Jay, the MEAC Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, that's a matchup I want to see. Jared Washington, an NFL caliber cornerback, going against Isaiah Rockwell, who's the go-to guy.
And that's not what you want to see, because kind of favoring that right arm as Washington trots off the field. The defense holding the Panthers out of the end zone. Diego Alfaro now on to attempt a 26-yard field goal close to that right hash. Panthers looking to get on the board first, off the upright, and it is no good. So coming up empty on that possession for the Panthers. And Prairie View A&M is knotted with zeros on the board. Hey, no good. Chennis Berry saying, we did that. Good hold, fellas.
The Cricket Celebration Bowl is brought to you by Cricket 5G and Coca-Cola. Fan work is thirsty work.
10 years in and some of the flashy moments. You go back to 2022, Coach Prime in his final game with Jackson State, North Carolina Central, able to top the Tigers in overtime to win the HBCU National Championship.
I see that image, and you saw T.C. Taylor up behind Coach Prime, who was now the head coach of Jackson State. But what about that cistron by Mookie Collier? That really set the tone and helped guide North Carolina Central to the national championship.
Back here, 1st and 20 for the Bulldogs. Tyler Smith on the carry as we send it down to Harry with an update on Jared Washington.
Yeah, guys, Jared Washington was favoring that right arm. It looked like he was sort of rubbing on his tricep, but he was down here on the bench dancing a little bit, so I think we're going to be seeing him back in this football game with the same fire that he's had all season.
Well, thanks so much, Harry, and that would be a huge development. We will continue to keep our eye on that. You mentioned, Jay, top NFL prospect on the field today is Tyler Marsh, looking for running room, but very active linebackers for this defense of Prairie View. Sterling Roberts, again, there on the stop.
I mean, they can absolutely fly to the football. I'm going to say it over and over again like a broken record. If number 7, number 3, and 25 have you running sideways, they're winning the battle. That means the 3 guys up front are holding on to the offensive linemen, and the linebackers are coming downhill. You cannot outrun these guys sideline to sideline.
Flanking out and coming back in is Tyler Smith. Checking the coverage. And the snap to Billy Atkins. And Atkins looking to his left. Pass complete, but it's going to be short of the sticks as Jalen Johnson is able to haul it in. Eric Zachary there is one of the best athletes all around and coming up with the tackle.
And a really good job by the defense for Prairie View A&M. They have a 3-man defensive line front. They drop 8 in obvious pass situations. You have to be able to push them around. And South Carolina State has struggled doing so in establishing any type of control of the line of scrimmage.
Janish back on the field after the 3 and out. And most importantly, Andre Dennis wanting to secure this football after bobbling it and fumbling it the last time. He's got it in, hurdles a defender, but it's quickly brought down right after that 45-yard punt. And just a 4-yard return. Well, Jay, the biggest stage in HBCU football, a national championship is on the line. As you think about some of the great champions here in Atlanta, man, oh man, they're trying to etch their name. Becoming the pinnacle of black college football at the Cricket Celebration Bowl. Chasing that trophy, that glory, as Prairie View A&M making their first appearance in this Cricket Celebration Bowl. Cam Peters looking for some room to run, nowhere to go, as we send it down to the field with Quick Kesnick standing by with a very special guest.
Yeah, that guest is Dr. Dennis Thomas, brainchild of the Celebration Bowl a decade ago. How would you best describe the last 10 years of this game?
Oh, it's been phenomenal, tremendous growth. And first, I'd just like to thank John Skipper, Burt Magnus, Pete Derzick, and John Grant for not only seeing the vision, but investing in the vision.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas.
Well, thanks so much, President, or rather Commissioner Emeritus of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. And just thinking about how many times he had to go and try to knock on the door and convince not only the coaches in his conference, but also the SWAC to actually have this SWAC champion versus BAC champion and do an HBCU national championship. He said those seeds were planted long ago, and he had to water them over time before he wore them down. 3rd and 12 for the Panthers, dumping it out of the backfield to Chadrick Bird, and Bird picks up the first down across the 45-yard line. As Jarrett Washington, who we were keeping our eye on, back in the game.
Yeah, great job of patience by Peters, the quarterback, allowing the running back to get outside. He had a blocker in front of him. Really good job of getting downfield. The block was Mawalai, number 75. Effective use of the screen to pick up the first down and keep the drive going and the offense on the field.
5 of 10 so far for Cam Peters, 87 yards, being rushed out of the pocket to his left. Tough throw, but he's able to make it as he keeps his eyes downfield. Andre Dennis, who has been targeted now 7 times, he's coming up with his 4th completion. This one good for 38.
Yeah, you know, when you have a mobile quarterback, if you're going to get him out of the pocket, you better bring them down. They're not able to bring the quarterback down, keeps his eyes upfield, and Andre Dennis has been a problem for the Bulldogs secondary, able to easily get behind the defensive backs.
Well, reception to 103 yards. They put it on the ground with Bird. Bird with no room to run. As we'll let you know, coming up at 8 Eastern on ABC and the ESPN app, Boise State, the Mountain West champs for the 3rd straight year, square off against Washington in the bucked up LA Bowl.
Down here in this situation here, look for number 11 at the bottom of your screen. This is a matchup they need to take advantage of right there. That's where you've got Rockwell, who's their go-to guy. Tremendous catch radius, one-on-one, but no, somebody else is open.
Instead, in the end zone, that's Ethan John, the tight end, for the TD catch, and the Panthers on the board. Well, after that missed field goal on their last time in the red zone, this time, Cam Peters and this Panthers offense connect.
A really good job by offensive coordinator Chris Buckner utilizing the tight end. They talk about Ethan John's versatility. They can put him in a 3-point strand. They can flex him out and able to find a soft spot in the defense for the easy score for the Panthers.
Alfaro on to attempt the extra point. This one is up and through. Just more than 2 minutes taken off the clock. 6 plays, 69 yards, resulting in another Cam Peters touchdown, his 20th of the season, as Ethan John coming up big.
Yeah, they do a really good job. They just give you an exotic formation, so you're going to see Johns is the guy that's in the middle of it. You got the safety coming up to play defense from 15 yards back. By the time he gets to him, his momentum's coming forward. Johns is going backwards. Nice concept design by the Panther offense.
First touchdown catch of the season for the junior out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, a player that they inherited. And here you go, the marching storm from Prairie View A&M. Yeah, that touchdown will strike up the band. The Panthers, champions out of the SWAC, looking to continue to change the narrative, flip the script. You heard Q talk about that losing streak back in the 90s, and now we saw a championship in the SWAC in 2009. They knocked off the defending SWAC and HBCU national champion at Jackson State Tigers to make it here to their first ever Cricket Celebration Bowl.
Well, off to a good start right now, but they have to keep momentum coming. And this is a very important drive for South Carolina State as their offense takes the field. They need to establish who's the better team in this football game.
Well, let's let you know a little bit more out of this group from South Kakalaki, from Orangeburg to be exact. This is a proud program, a long-standing tradition, and just about 46 miles outside of the capital city in South Carolina, the only HBCU to offer a Bachelor of Science in Nuclear Engineering. They've got a great ROTC program as well. And you mentioned earlier, Jay, the 4 Pro Football Hall of Famers.
It's a lot of defense right there.
Yeah.
A school that's known for producing defensive gems in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but they're going to need to come up with some offense right now.
Oh, you're absolutely right, as that one is complete to the outside. And coming up with the catch is Mason Pickett Hicks out of the backfield. You've got Harry Carson, Deacon Jones, Marion Motley, Donnie Shell.
How about some of the new modern age guys?
Yeah, we saw Robert
Durant.
Porsche.
Jacoby Durant starts for the LA Rams right now. Robert Porsche from the Detroit Lions.
Shaq Leonard as well.
And we just saw Shaq Leonard.
Yep.
Davius Shaq Leonard. The defense just keeps going on and on at South Carolina State.
Well, this is much needed for South Carolina State. Not only picking up a first down, but they've only got 23 yards of total offense in this first quarter, Jay. So they've got to find a way to pick it up. Hicks to the outside.
Nowhere to go.
Stuck. And a flag, our first of the afternoon, coming from this Sun Belt officiating crew with Jalen Shelton on the tackle. That brings us to the end of the quarter, so no penalty marker on that play. And Prairie View A&M trying to take advantage of this wonderful opportunity. HBCU National Championship is on the line. They're up 7-0 after 1. We're back here in Atlanta. Hey, bowl season kicks off today. A noon kick here from the Mercedes-Benz Stadium for this HBCU National Championship. Prairie View making their first appearance, and they've got a 7-0 advantage heading into the second quarter. And South Carolina State, who has the football, looking for some offense here to get going downhill. They had just 2 yards per play in that first half, and they've got to find a way. And who do you rely on? When we talked with Chennis Berry, he said, look, Billy Atkins, our grad transfer QB from James Madison, has to be a guy today. On 2nd and 9, pass complete to the outside, and that's Julian Milligan, who talked with Chennis Berry earlier. Harry, what's up, man?
You've talked about this team being built through adversity. You're down a touchdown here after 1 quarter. You still got a lot of time. What do you tell your team in order to get them back in this football game?
Well, just weather the storm. And, you know, we got a good football team, but these moments are important. So we got to be able to weather the storm. We're fine. All right, we just got to make our plays when we get an opportunity to make plays. We get them the 3rd and long, we got to be able to get off the field.
Thank you, Coach.
Absolutely. Let's get it.
First play of 10 yards for South Carolina State on that last play. They go back to Milligan as we send it over to the other sideline with Q.
Coach, how would you describe the play of your quarterback, Cam Peters?
Yeah, you know, shaky at first, but the last drive, he took us down and scored. Everybody on our team just has to settle down, man, and be able to play in this environment. First time playing indoors. I think once he settled down, he got us where we need to go.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
I think that was a question mark coming in for Prairie View. How would they respond? You've got a South Carolina State team who has been on the stage before. Last season they were here as Billy Atkins looking for some room. He's brought down. And what did Chennis Berry tell us? Look, the stage was too big. The brights were too light for us, or the lights were too bright for us last year. And so how they would respond this time around as an injured player down on the field That's a backup nose guard, Jamal Marshall, a senior out of Fort Worth, Texas, who's now laying on his back, getting some attention from the athletic training staff. Well, Jackson on the field, checking on his player. We will step aside here. 3rd and 7 coming up. Sowed with intention, rooted in purpose. This is 10 years of greatness at the Cricket Celebration Bowl. Back here in the capital city of Georgia, the season starts here with the Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge, and it ends here in the Cricket Celebration Bowl. 3rd and 7 coming up for South Carolina State. Billy Atkins so far, 5 of 6, 31 yards, 5 different receivers. What does he have to do here?
Settle down. The 3-man rush here, he's confused. He does not understand the coverage he's seeing. This is what Prairie does. They'll get close to the line of scrimmage and then sprint into a zone, trust your protection, and find an open receiver. It's taking too long to make up his mind, and that's why he's getting sacked right now.
And again, the speed of the defense that you have talked about from Prairie View A&M on full display once again. And this is in real time again, folks.
Yeah, once you get to 1,003, you have to know he missed the crossing route early because he did not anticipate it. The moment you blink, this defense is on you in a hurry. It's the scheme and the speed of Prairie View A&M that has produced 3 sacks already today. And if South Carolina State does not make an adjustment and the quarterback doesn't speed up his rhythm, that number total could increase by a lot.
So the punting unit back on. Finish once again. Puts it in the air. And Dennis watches it bounce as it's down here about the 14.5-yard line. Let's look at our drive recap brought to you by Red Lobster.
What it's all about, it's about quarterback play. This is how you play the quarterback position. Cam Peters knows he's going to face some pressure and adversity, but what does he do? He doesn't panic, spins out of the pocket, and look at his vision. Continues to look downfield, waits for his receiver to make a cut, throws the ball to him for the explosive play, which capitalized on a drive that put points on the board. Cam Peters showing you how to get it done the right way.
7 of 12, 141 yards, 1 touchdown already today, but 11 of his 12 pass attempts, Jay, have gone to open targets. The handoff on 1st down, and the running back McDowell up ahead for a gain of 5.
Yeah, really good job right now winning the chess match by Prairie View. They realize that, hey, our wide receivers can get past the DBs, so South Carolina State's starting to play a little bit more zone coverage. The 2 safeties are 10 yards from the line of scrimmage to help out in the passing game. So when the passing game's not there, you run the football.
That low throw, and it's incomplete. Well, the FCS quarterfinals roll on at 3:30 Eastern right here on ABC. 11th seeded South Dakota squares off against 3rd seeded Montana, also available on the ESPN app. And you are Mr. FCS, Jay.
Hey, you know, Montana State won yesterday. So if Montana wins that game, it'll be a rematch of the Brawl of the Wild with the winner going to the championship game. North Dakota State's already out, so it's open for anybody to win the FCS playoffs.
Here on 3rd down, going back, and the defender falls down, and the pass is complete. And Rodney Ojo with the reception, and 1st down and more. Pick up a 14.
Staying with it. You know, this has been unconventional. We've heard Coach Berry talk about we have to get the quarterback down, but a little rub route, and you see the defensive back go down there. Jabin Ford, he falls down. They take advantage of it. Extending the plays, Cam Peters keeps his offense on the field.
Play action, and that one incomplete to Rockwell, but a penalty marker comes out as Jared Washington saying, wait a minute, thought I had good coverage there.
I thought he had good coverage as well. I mean, on the slant route, you have to be able to get your arms in front.
Defense number 12, 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
And this was the matchup I wanted to see with Jared Washington, the NFL talent quarterback. This is how you play it. Going hard on the inside route. A lot of contact, but
And Jay, back here on the field, the lights go out temporarily. They come back on, Jay, in between the plays. And Prairie View working with fresh set of downs from their own 49. In the backfield, double pass.
He's got an
and
entourage.
Peters has a whole bevy of blockers ahead of him. And Chris Buckner, let's give credit to the offensive coordinator, Buckner, for his diversity in play calling.
I mean, this is what you have to do. You got the speed, so they use the speed to keep them on their heels. And if Cameron Peters would have slowed down just a little bit and let the 4 linemen downfield get the blocks. I mean, look at this right here. You got all these guys right here. Let them hit somebody. He outran the blocking scheme there. That could have been a touchdown. A little bit impatient, but still a huge play for Prairie View.
They keep it on the ground again, and plenty of room, and that's Cameron Peters. Yo, he did a lot of that last week in the SWAC championship, and he runs it in from 27 yards out. Panthers put another score on the board.
You saw Chennis Berry there telling his team, settle down, we'll be in there. Well, you need to do something. They do the little, this is a quarterback dive that we saw them run successfully versus Jackson State a week ago. And this time here, you cannot have a quarterback go, is that untouched? I'm gonna call that untouched into the end zone, in the red zone. Somebody missed several assignments on that one. Prairie View A&M cooking here in the first half.
Cam Peters, who has been a difference maker so far today on offense, and up 2 scores is Prairie View A&M, the SWAC champions. And look, Chennis Berry has been here before, back-to-back appearances. He said, fellas, we can't hang our heads low. Can they withstand the moment and shine on this stage? We'll find out when we come back.
The Cricket Celebration Bowl is brought to you by X Program. Outsmart nicotine and quit for good at xprogram.com. Paid for by Truth Initiative. And Capital One. What's in your wallet?
The Celebration Bowl early on felt more like a coronation for the Aggies, winning 3 consecutive here in Atlanta when they were a part of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. If you're just joining us, folks, a 14-0 lead for Prairie View A&M. The Panthers out of the SWAC have jumped on South Carolina State. And Jay, I can't stop but thinking to last year, because the Bulldogs were in this same position against another SWAC opponent in Jackson State, who jumped out to a 14-0 lead at the half as they went on to win.
Yeah, and South Carolina State never recovered, so you thought they would have learned from last season, but give credit to Prairie View A&M schematically drawing up some things that are keeping the Bulldogs on their heels.
Jalen Johnson bringing this one out and gets it past the 20-yard line.
And let's talk about schematically. You know, we know they're going to run quarterback draw, but I want to give a shout out to C.K. Carter right here, number 71, getting an opportunity to start in his hometown. And then you're going to see the pull and guard come across the formation and seal it off here. When they do this, when you see linemen getting bodies on bodies and wrestling them with linebackers, that means they're getting in the way. Wide open running lane for Cam Peters.
And clicking on all cylinders.
Is that what it's about? C.K. Carter.
Giving that love to the guys
from the
up front.
ATL. Went to Benjamin Mays High School right here in the ATL. He's a backup, but he's getting the start here today, so doing the most when his number's called. The depth of Prairie View A&M.
The run up ahead. Let's send it down to Harry.
Guys, I don't know if we can see it here, but if you zoom in on the right hand of Billy Atkins, he received treatment during that last Prairie View A&M possession because of a big gash that he's got. He was bleeding pretty badly, not just on the back of his hand, but also on his middle and ring finger. Something to keep an eye on, not just on this drive, but for the rest of the football game.
Good eyes, Harry, and you can see it right there. Is still marks of blood on the outside. He's ready to go. He's a gamer, right, Jay?
If you can keep the bruising down on that side, he'll be all right. Maybe a little bit sore, but you just want to keep the swelling down. He should be able to hold the football and throw it effectively.
And remember, this is a player in Billy Atkins coming over after graduating from James Madison, earned his economics degree a second-team all-conference quarterback who had to replace the Black College Football Hall of Fame Player of the Year in Eric Phoenix from a season ago.
And came in and really gave him a spark. Diversified the offense. Ryan Stubblefield, the backup quarterback, is more of a runner than Atkins is, but he really got the wide receivers involved in the passing game.
Timeout. Prairie View A&M.
A timeout taken by Prairie View, and so we will step aside here as well. Jay, before we go to break, though, partner, let's see what's on the inside, because I like the drip on the outside.
Oh, you like this?
But I also
looked
said you were a Black College Football
Don't it
Hall
look like
of
an
Famer.
Academy Award or something like that?
And the award goes to. Come on, hit us
when
with
you
it.
hear somebody's going to join me in my elite fraternity,
Bam, you got to
the Black
coordinate.
College Football Hall of Fame representing HU, America's HBCU, with that one. If you look good, you feel good, you feel good, you play good, you get paid good.
Jay, you had to get that obligatory. We're coming up at the half. We will hear from the Marching 101 and the Marching Storm, but a huge third down here, 3rd and 5 for South Carolina State. They're looking to get something going, and stepping out of bounds after that reception, Johnny Jones, and that's going to move the chains.
Just enough yardage there, but I like the play calling there and the quick decision. If your quarterback's not seeing things right away, take it out of his hands, rely on the quick passing game, which goes more while you're pre-snap read.
That's a man in motion with Brown, and looking, time going downfield, has a man, and Johnny Jones targeted once again, but the pass incomplete with Randall on the coverage.
The throw there, help out your quarterback, make that catch there. Instead, it's just a long incompletion, and can't afford that if you're South Carolina State. You have to get ahead of the chains. You have to win on 1st and 2nd down to make it 3rd and short. You throw an incompletion on 1st down, hard to recover against this Prairie A&M defense.
That was one of the things Chennis Berry told us. You know, they have been so great all season long last year on converting on 3rd downs and stopping teams on 3rd downs, and they struggled in that championship game. They hope not to put themselves in that position again as Jalen Johnson gets near the marker. He stopped short. Was he down? They say he was down before the ball came out. So it's going to bring up 3rd and short.
Great individual effort. Wise for them to try and hurry up and get to the line of scrimmage and snap the ball before they can review it.
And another opportunity to keep this drive going as Billy Atkins keeping the ball in his hands.
Make the call on this fantastic individual effort. They're going to strip the ball. He doesn't have that ball when that tush hits the ground. South Carolina State fortunate to maintain possession.
Well, Jerry McGinn, our rules expert, what did you see?
I agree. That ball was coming out. The replay should have been able to stop that, but unfortunately they didn't. They were able to get the play off, so now it's not reviewable.
Yeah, I mean, that ball is clearly out of there. South Carolina State dodged one there.
And South Carolina State spending their 2nd timeout of the 1st half, but they were wisely able to get the snap off and keep this drive going. Here are next week's college football playoff 1st round matchups. Oklahoma hosts Alabama Friday night in Norman at 8 Eastern. And next Saturday's triple header starts with Texas A&M hosting Miami at College Station. That kicks off at noon Eastern. Both games are on ABC, ESPN, and the ESPN app. Then you've got the TNT, Tulane, Ole Miss, and Oxford. James Madison, Oregon, capping the night in Eugene. There's so much great football in store for us. Continuing.
You know what I got a bone with?
What?
About a week ago, Texas A&M was the #2 team in the country. They lose a game. They dropped to #7, and their reward is playing Miami. And Miami's a team, I'm going to tell you, a lot of people didn't want to play Miami. You know, if they got in, they could be in trouble. They could play with anybody, and that's your reward there. I think Texas A&M got a tough draw, but Marcel Reed and the boys, they're going to have to prove it to defend home turf.
That's why we're going to all be tuning in and watching to see the outcome of those 1st round games, as back here, South Carolina State on the ground, and Josh Shaw on the carry, the senior out of Hannah, South Carolina, who's just come on as of late when we talked with the coaching staff, gain of 6.
And they're trying to find a running back that can stick, that's not going to rely on bouncing to the outside. So they go to Josh Shaw, who's the thickest of the running back, 5'11", 220 pounds. So he's more of that bruising type, can get things done in between the tackles if they want to try to use the downhill running approach.
Keep the ball on the ground once again and stood up as the ball carrier. No gain on the play, so that's going to bring up 3rd and 4. And in talking with Chennis Berry, he said, look, the recipe for success is you see them trying to gain yards on the ground. We've got to be able to run the football and stop the run. You hear coaches say that time in and time again. In order to play championship football, we've got to have those 2 ingredients, and they've struggled thus far today. See just 19 yards on the ground. Looking. Atkins with time decides to take off, but the speed again of the Panthers is able to stop Atkins short of the marker as Kennedy Parker with the stop.
You know, when you say it's too late, you have to know who's looking at you. And you're going to take a look at the inside linebackers here. They've got clear vision on him. Nowhere to go this way. You have to try and run up the middle if you can. But watch this. They're looking. They're just sitting there waiting. They're stalking. Oh, no. Not going to get to the edge. 2 of them getting there. Double trouble, as we like to call that there. By the time he makes up his mind, it's too late to run the football.
And players who came over with Coach Tremaine Jackson, like Kennedy Parker from Valdosta State last season. And a good punt there from Giannis to pin them just outside of their 10-yard line. But a 3rd start inside the 20 for South Carolina State, or rather for Prairie View A&M, as you'll come back with us to Atlanta.
All right, let's take a look at how Cam Peters has been the man, the myth, the legend this game. Zipper concept, all quarterbacks know that. Put pressure on the middle of the field, sticks it there to his tight end for the first score of the game. But when you play quarterback, you have to be a dual threat quarterback. Look at this. I like to call this video game mode right here as he goes into the end zone untouched. You see the poor angles by the South Carolina State Bulldog defense. They better figure out a way to slow down Cam Peters, representing Missouri City, Texas.
Yeah, journey that he has been on, the number of different head coaches that he's played for, but the way he has settled into this system has been impressive. And getting through the line is Shadrick Bird as he's slung down to the ground. For more on Cam Peters, let's send it down to Q.
Yeah, his journey is fascinating. Kilgore College, UTSA, it's about patience and growth. 4 to 5 different offensive coordinators during his tenure, and he's benched earlier this year after a win because of his approach. He changed his mindset, changed the maturation. He's a solo captain today, and after a slow start, he is cooking. His favorite movie, Tiff, it's Waterboy, and right now, you can do it, Cam.
Okay.
Yeah,
Q,
like
that's
that.
good. That's good scoop. That's good scouting, Q. That's good scouting, but I can one-up you. See, I knew he was a really good quarterback because one of my friends, good friends, is rapping legend Scarface.
Okay.
And Scarface coached Cam Peters in Pop Warner.
Really?
And he said he's been doing it for a long time. Shout out to Brad, but right now it's the Cam Peters show.
Dropping all kinds of jewels so far today, fellas. 3rd and 4, and you see the efficiency from the Panthers offense on 3rd down.
Watch the run if you're South Carolina State. See, here it comes. Can you stop it?
They knew it was coming, and Cam Peters lowers that shoulder. And you said this drive is so important really for South Carolina State's defense. Why?
Yeah, because if you allow the opposing offense to not go 90 yards to score a touchdown, but even if they increase the lead and go up by more than 2 scores going into the locker room at halftime and your offense not getting it done, you get demoralized. And that second half, you almost don't want to come out of the locker room.
Just missed his man. He had a guy underneath, and Andre Dennis was going for Ethan John. Pass incomplete. It's 2nd and 10. Just a reminder, folks, obviously there's so much pageantry around HBCU football and what it's like to be in this national championship game. You don't have a football game without the bands. The Marching Storm from Prairie View A&M and the Marching 101 from South Carolina State are looking on and getting ready, because you said what? 100 wouldn't do? So they need
when 100's not enough, you have to have 101.
Rolling to his right, Peters completes it and knocked out of bounds after Ojo brings it in.
I'm starting to get a little Janet Jackson in the building. You know Janet Jackson?
Control!
Yeah, a little Rhythm Nation, little Rhythm Nation.
For 20 years, All-State has celebrated every field goal and extra point made at participating universities by donating the university's athletic scholarship fund, supporting all student athletes. Thank you to All-State. Patient running, nowhere to go, and clogged up immediately as Malik Harp was in on the stop.
And so what South Carolina State has to do is they've got to stop Cameron Peters from playing in control and finding his rhythm. That's what I meant by the Janet Jackson Rhythm Nation reference. He's got the rhythm right now, and he's playing in control. What do you have to do? Disrupt him, make him uncomfortable. Don't allow him to go through his progression so easily.
Right now, names that we haven't talked about much or called much: Jarrett Washington, Jordan Franklin, Joshua Barker up front, and an open Rodney Ojo, and Ojo down that left seam, and Cameron Peters right now is feeling his flow. You said he was cooking earlier?
Yes.
Come on, take me through there, Jay.
Cooking with grease right now, and the offensive line get him protection. With bodies flying around him, he's still able to give his receiver time to set up the nice shake route up the seam. Perfectly run route by Rodney Ojo. Ball delivered for a strike. Prairie View A&M cooking.
Was there a face mask there as well, Jay, on that play? They could have maybe added some more yardage potentially as we approach the 2-minute timeout. 211 yards for Cam Peters through the air. There's no room to run for McDowell. He's brought down and stopped by Tyler Jones. And now that 2-minute timeout is here with a 14-0 advantage for Prairie View A&M, and the Panthers could have had some more yardage. When you look back at that play, as you know, Tyler Jones looked like he got a little bit of that face mask from Rodney Ojo. Jerry McGinn, our rules analyst who sees the game so well. I mean, Jerry, are we correct in that thought, right?
Exactly. That would have been a nice get by the back judge. That would add it on another 15 yards. So, a little miss.
Meanwhile, you can't miss this. This casket clean right here, okay? This Sunday best coming out.
What is that, velvet?
Yeah.
Man.
Hey, Jay, he's trying to rival you right now. You know what I'm saying?
Look like we went to the same tailor. I got to tell my tailor, Raj, what are you doing? Supposed to have exclusive rights when it comes down to the dressing and the gear.
But I like the John Witherspoon. You got to coordinate, and you did that for sure.
I try. I do a little something right there. But how about this event down here? And we've seen this. You talk about the growth of this game, the 10-year anniversary of it. You know, it's more than just a football game. It's the outfits. It's the get-togethers. It's kind of like the HBCU homecoming for both conferences here in Atlanta. And this game continues to grow. I'm proud to be part of it.
I love that we saw so many different schools represented just in and around town, and obviously here today in the stadium, and just the importance of repping your conference.
Man-to-man coverage. They've got these guys on an island.
Cam Peters unloads it, and the pass complete into the hands, and we saw Billy Atkins grimacing. Harry, what you got?
Yeah, guys, he's headed towards the locker room. He was pretty frustrated down here on the South Carolina State sideline. He tried throwing the football and was in so much pain. He not only yelled, but he fell to the ground. We saw Ryan Stubblefield warming up, so it appears for at least the time being, he will not be back in this football game.
Oh, that's a huge, huge blow to South Carolina State. Thanks so much, Harry, as you saw Atkins getting on the cart. And in his final season of college football, Billy Atkins, the fourth. You see the hand and head come together, and Atkins, and tremendous job that he's done this season, going through the MEAC unblemished, making it to the championship game. Here on 2nd and 9, Prairie View trying to tack on some more. Oh my goodness! You called his name earlier, Josiah Rockwell, a dude, brings it in. My.
I mean, they're putting their cornerbacks on the island. That's the matchup you want, Jared Washington versus Rockwell. But Rockwell has exceptional catch radius. In terms of if the ball's in his area, we've seen him time and time again. Most people call them 50-50 balls. With Josiah Rockwell, it's like a 70-30 ball.
A 1,000-yard receiver putting up Prairie View A&M 3 scores. Remember, folks, that drive started at their own 5-yard line. More than 4.5 minutes taken off the clock. 11 plays, and this was just a thing of beauty.
I mean, back shoulder, but then you trust your wide receiver to turn and get position on the defense's back. Use it to seal him off, and this is the matchup. This is one-on-one down in the red zone. Just throw it in the area. I'm going to catch it. Does a great job coming down with it. Prairie A&M, their big plays are making big plays by their big players are making big plays. We're seeing Cam Peters do the job. We're seeing Rockwell do the job. We're seeing the defensive linebackers do the job. Prairie View is clicking. Water to wine.
Yeah. And right now, just that little touch right there, and it's happening. The miracle is unfolding and changing the narrative again from a long time ago. And now that water could be a little bit sweeter when it turns into wine at the end of this game.
And I'm going to say, it wasn't even just regular water. It was dirty water. That water was dirty down there off that clay river they got in Texas there. But they've turned this dirty water into wine there, a half away from saying, like I mentioned earlier, from going from that Prairie View with the losing streak and all the negative stuff when they were playing non-scholarship football and everybody was beating them up and down the conference, the country, everybody's homecoming opponent for about 7-8 years, to they're half away from becoming the Prairie View that could be the HBCU national champions. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, he told us we're going to hit Control-Alt-Delete on the season that was, and he reminded his team before this game what they needed to do. They needed to get into that for South Carolina State.
I'm proud to be your coach. I love you. You make sure you love each other. And listen. Let's go beat their ass. Let's go beat their ass. Let's go.
That's right. Let's go grab it.
All disrespect must be addressed. Water and wine on 3. 1, 2, 3. Water, wine.
He said, look, we got to get into that, and they have gotten into South Carolina State thus far. But what I loved about how he described his program, he says, we are a fully cultured program, and we come in confrontational. Our culture is confrontational. Meanwhile, Ryan Stubblefield, the backup quarterback, in for Billy Atkins. The pass incomplete. That was in the area of a Prairie View defender. For more, let's send it down to Q.
You can see Coach Jackson wears the DOG on the back of his shirt there. That stands for dog, discipline, obedience, and grit. And those are the foundations, the pillars of this program. We watched their walkthrough yesterday, their practice yesterday. It was as spirited and as sharp as you will see in college football.
Well, thanks so much, Q, here on 2nd down. And just in and out of the hands of Nigel Johnson.
Two mistakes, 2 consecutive pass plays. Backup quarterback in the game. Let him run, get him into a rhythm. Stubblefield's more of a runner. If you don't convert on 3rd down, Prairie View's going to get the ball back with 2 timeouts and a chance to increase their lead. I would have run the ball here to settle them down a little bit. Stubblefield can run. Throwing is not his best attribute, but this is an important 3rd down for South Carolina State right now.
The graduate out of Houston, Texas. Here on 3rd and 10, looking to convert, and is able to do so as he zips it in to Johnny Johnson. So that'll stop the clock temporarily, and that was much needed for not only Stubblefield, but this Bulldog offense.
And now you can kind of step on the gas pedal a little bit. Don't worry about the clock so much. Don't worry about them getting the ball. See if you can maybe steal some points. Now, he's throwing nothing but fastballs, isn't he? This is a backup quarterback, Stubblefield, who's coming in here amped up hype. I mean, every throw we've seen, he's putting 100 miles an hour on it, everything he's got. He's throwing the ball, he's not passing. He'll settle down and start completing some passes, not some throws.
And remember, they have been accustomed to Stubblefield earlier in this season. He started a couple of games or played in a few games for the Bulldogs and getting acclimated. And now Stubblefield and this offense trying to move it down the field before the end of the half, and at least put some points on the board before going into the locker room. Who completes it. They've got one timeout remaining, so the clock is going to stop after that short pass to Jones.
How ironic would it be if Ryan Stubblefield came in here and was able to overtake this 21-point deficit? Ryan Stubblefield from Houston, Texas, right there, Foster High School out in the suburbs. So he would love nothing more than to come in here and show his talents against his home team state.
That one off the mark. And when you look at what South Carolina State has done in the last two Celebration Bowls, it's not the team that Chennisberry has seen all season long. It goes back to last year. They've been outscored 49-7. He said, that wasn't my team last year, and I'm curious to know how he feels about this showing thus far through nearly 2 quarters.
You know, you want to say sometimes you are what your record says you are. And right now, when it comes to Celebration Bowl, that team has been who we've seen. And they have not figured out the formula yet for success here in Atlanta.
South Carolina State, who will receive the ball to start the second half. They've got a lot to do to try to overcome this 3-score deficit. And Tremaine Jackson and his coaching staff has done an outstanding job thus far. The big guys up front protecting well. Cam Peters shining on this stage, and things just really clicking for the Panthers.
You know, and we all knew that Tremaine Jackson was a hot coaching commodity coming over from Valdosta State and leading Prairie View to a successful season. But in just one half of football, his stock's gone up.
Searching for a national championship are these two teams. South Carolina State out of the MEAC has a big hill to climb in this second half as Prairie View, the SWAC champions, with a 21-0 advantage through the first 30 minutes of this game.
You're watching Capital One Bowl Mania.
You're watching the Cricket Celebration Bowl, part of Capital One Bowl Mania on ABC. 10 years of tradition, 10 years of celebration, and right now, Prairie View A&M on the brink of their first national championship in more than 5 decades, as they've got a 21-0 advantage as we are set to start the third quarter. Question marks around South Carolina State, what they can do to try to overcome this deficit. On the return, a solid start for South Carolina State. They'll have pretty decent field position to open up this possession. Meanwhile, Jay Walker, Tiffany Green back here in the booth with you. And Jay, having difficulty running the football, that's something that South Carolina State said they needed to do in order to play championship football. How do they adjust to that 3-safety defense from Prairie View?
Stop running sideways. I mean, you have to challenge them up the middle. Yes, they've got a true defensive tackle that's tough to move around, but you have to run. Take the 3 or 4 boring running plays to establish your playing ahead of the chains. And now that they've got a running quarterback in the game, that may help them out. But they need to come out of the locker room with the game plan and put some points on the board desperately in this first possession.
A jet sweep, and that's Jordan Smith, an impact player that you talked about as we go down to the field with Harry.
Yeah, guys, caught up with Chennisberry coming out of the locker room. He said it doesn't look like we're going to see Billy Atkins for the rest of this football game. He doesn't have his pads. From my own observation, it looked like a right shoulder injury. Again, when he tried to throw, he went down and was grimacing in pain. I asked, how do you have Ryan Stubblefield succeed here in the second half? He's like, look, we got to put together a drive here. We've got to do the things that he's well at. He says he can run and throw. They feel comfortable using the whole playbook with him, so we'll see how they do it.
Harry, do me a favor. Go down there and tell Chin, as Jay Walker said, you need to run downhill. Stop running sideways. They come out of the locker room and they run jet sweep for 3 yards. That's a high-risk, low-reward play if you only pick up 2 or 3 yards on that one. They need to pound the football. Pound the football.
Well, you've got, 4 of the 5 guys up front making all-conference team, and so you've got Roger Smith, the only returning starter on offense for this Bulldog team, or this Bulldog unit. 3rd and 2 here. You've got to rely on a Roger Smith, your left tackle, who can also interchange at left guard as well, as they go with the quarterback run and stop and held up as we send it down to Q.
I know Ryan Stubblefield. He played at Incarnate Word, the words of Tremaine Jackson, the transformational coach here at Prairie View, and he said, we're going to bring the heat. We're just going to turn up the heat against an inexperienced quarterback. Coach most happy with the fact that his team has handled the hype here this week in Atlanta. Keep in mind, first SWAC championship in 16 years, first Celebration Bowl, biggest game in school history, first played under a dome. This group in purple, they've shown up ready to play.
You're absolutely right. And they got here on Tuesday, wanted to be able to just get settled in, and they look mighty cozy thus far. Over the head of Dennis, goes into the end zone for the touchback. Well, ex-program first half stats, taking a look here. We talked about the running game, not under control. Time of possession, pretty obvious that it's even, but the big number there, total yards, big disparity, 320 for Prairie View compared to just 80 total for South Carolina State.
And you would think with the time of possession being what it is, pretty much, 50-50 right there, the ball game would be a lot closer. But I think after that initial drive when Prairie View missed the field goal, after that the offense said, let's take things into our own hands. And they really came out and delivered their game plan of what they want to play like. That's a heavy dose of Cam Peters being the decision maker, running and throwing the football.
Well, a solid start for Peters. He was 4 of 8 to open this ball game, and then he went on a tear, a couple of touchdown passes, 167 yards after that opening drive. And here, running ahead in a short gain for the Panthers. I mean, everything pretty much went right, and you've got to credit Christopher Buckner, the offensive coordinator. Again, this is a totally new coaching staff, a pretty brand new team as well. 70+ new players, but they have come together and gel at the right time as Bingman tried to get to the outside, and he's wrapped up and brought down. But going back to what Buckner has done, what have you liked most about the plays he's called today?
He settled down his quarterback. We saw his quarterback come out early with butterflies. What did he do? Let's run some quarterback draws. Let's get him hit. And after that, Cam Peters has been the MVP of this football game there. So they're in unison. They're in sync. He's calling plays to benefit Peters, to make him feel comfortable. And he continues to keep that rhythm.
And Josiah Rockwell stays on his feet. He absorbed the contact, kept going. And another first down. Boy, this has been a great connection all season long from Peters to Rockwell, who is the top receiver in the SWAC in terms of catches and yards for this Prairie View team.
And that's a Cam Peters special right there. RPO option. Fake the handoff. Look out, look out.
Ball on the ground. It's loose, picked up, and Jordan Dollard trying to will his way into the end zone, and a good change of events if you're a South Carolina State fan, capitalizing on the turnover on this opening possession of the second half for PV.
Wow, they got a little tricky trying to run a reverse, so you'll see the running back Bingman get it, and they're going to give the ball away on this reverse. Loose, no ball security. Great job of picking up the football by Jordan Dollard to say, hey, let me help out the offense. And South Carolina State comes up with a huge play here in this second half.
Dollard, who appeared to be a little banged up after the play, slid awkwardly, but the young man out of Greensboro, North Carolina, sets his team up in great position. First time in the red zone for South Carolina State. Ball planted at the PV 5-yard line.
They're yet to establish control of the line of scrimmage, running the football.
Jet sweep saying, we're gonna get in on the first play. Touchdown, South Carolina State. Tyler Smith from 5 yards out makes quick work of that fumble from the Panthers and nets points.
Did they need that? The defense trying to give them a spark, trying to jumpstart the offense, and they finally pick up the yardage needed to get into the end zone as South Carolina State scores the first points in this half.
Nico Campanius Alti on with the extra point, and it is good. One play, 5 yards, 6 seconds. South Carolina State on the board.
This South Carolina State sideline has not had a lot of energy on it today, even when we were 0-0. But that play right there has put life into them and this crowd here. 21-7, Prairie View A&M.
Let's see how both teams got here with our season in review brought to you by Cricket Wireless. Well, South Carolina State coming in on a 7-game win streak and capturing their second and consecutive MEAC championship. Meanwhile, Prairie View A&M won 9 of the last 10 games, but we all know that there is a journey to get here. The destination, obviously, Atlanta, and Billy Atkins the fourth, and all that he has poured into this program in his final season of college football, coming in, and just the emotions and understanding that this is a moment that he won't forget, but his father right there standing by his side and holding him up in what is a very vulnerable moment for this young man.
And it has to be, in his journey, from Mount St. Joe's High School up in the Baltimore area in Maryland, and started out at James Madison, and then figured out, hey, I'll end it on a plateau, competing for a HBCU national championship. Anytime you're competing for a national championship, you made the right decision on the transfer. Unfortunate for he and the Bulldogs, he won't be able to continue in this football game.
Well, a father-son moment right there as dad exiting the field, but being there for him. And Jay, you've played this game, you've been a captain of a football team, and understanding what this means and just the emotions running through.
I mean, you're all over the place. You want to be there for your teammates because they were there with you. As a quarterback, you can't win it by yourself. You have to rely on your teammates, so now you have to be supportive. And don't think about it now. You can't control the future right now. All you can do is take it at the moment. And right now, you have to be a good teammate and then do the reflections afterwards.
Harry, who's been patrolling the South Carolina State sidelines, he has more.
Yeah, guys, Billy Atkins has talked about his close relationship with his father, not just in how he helped him teach him how to be a football player, but, his father was a Hampton football alum, and his father wanted an HBCU football experience for him, so that was a big piece in him even coming to South Carolina State for this season.
The HBCU experience after getting his economics degree from James Madison. And Jay, you always talked about what your HBCU experience taught you, and just how it was more than just the game on the field, but how it grew you and made you into the man you are now.
And that'll be the challenge you see with the transfer portal and everything else. When I transferred into Howard University, first and foremost, my teammates and my coach made sure I became a Howard man. So now when people are moving parts, are you becoming Bulldog man? Are you becoming Panther? You have to buy into the culture. It's more than X's and O's.
Here on 3rd and 5 for Prairie View.
They're taking away the run. They're stuck in the quarterback draw, but they have to be able to protect. See, the draw wasn't there, so it's a great call right there. They won the chess match, but they left their wide receivers and their defensive backs on the island out there with South Carolina State forcing a punt with a chance to get back in this football game.
So the defense standing up. Michael Lunds, the second, a transfer into that South Carolina State program. And Chinnis Berry, who had instant success in his first season with the Bulldogs, said, I had to have a brand new team come in, only one returning starter on both sides of the ball. And Michael Lunds making an immediate impact, giving his team a chance to get the ball back here. Jalen Johnson on the return, dodges one man, keeps on going, looks for daylight, some running room along that left side, near the 50-yard line, brought down just inside it, a 39-yard punt and a 17-yard return. So a great starting field position for South Carolina State. Meanwhile, so many activities around, and you got to get shaped up and look good. Groom yourself for this moment here at the Cricket Celebration Bowl. You look good, you feel good, you play good. You already know.
The Cricket Celebration Bowl is brought to you by Truist Bank. Leaders in banking, unwavering in care. Truist Bank, member FDIC.
After just 2 years in the SWAC, Florida A&M knocking off Howard to win the Cricket Celebration Bowl and really starting this run for the SWAC. And, oh yeah, little throwback action. Partner, you won a national championship. You were undefeated with the Bison back in the day. Skywalker.
Oh wow, look
wait
at that.
a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. I didn't know that was coming out of the archives.
Oh, they drew us back to that Celebration Bowl. And although your Rattlers got the victory, my bucket list moment was my Bison got to meet the Vice President of the United States. Kamala Harris joined us in the booth. So one of the highlights of my broadcasting career.
Indeed, that was one of the top 3 moments, I'd say, from this Cricket Celebration Bowl. In the broadcast booth is Ryan Stubblefield going deep, has a man on the outside, and Nigel Johnson hauls it in. Nigel Johnson, a guy Chinnisberry told us before today's game needed to have a good game and expected him to. And that's a huge catch.
He said he was going to get the start right here. When you got a fastball pitcher that's throwing nothing but fastballs, he's got to throw it on the money. And that was an absolute strike. 40 yards down the field. South Carolina State finding a little momentum, that is.
Longest play of the game so far for South Carolina State, taking advantage of that deep threat on the jet sweep. And
oh, what a move!
X-Button. Yes, sir! Jordan Smith, there he is. Touchdown, South Carolina State. The Swiss Army knife out of Columbia, South Carolina, who has been an X factor this season for the Bulldogs, pulls South Carolina State within a score.
In the first half, the big-time players for Prairie A&M made some plays. Here in this second half, we're starting to see the playmakers from South Carolina State make a play to make this a ball game. Uh-oh, Tiff. You hear what's coming? After this extra point, one of the best traditions in HBCU football will be when the Qs for Omega Psi Phi get in sync with the band as they play past the P's.
There it is, right there. The Q-hop. Chinnisberry, the head coach from South Carolina State. A Q-dog. Tremaine Jackson on the opposing sideline is as well. The brotherhood, for sure. We talked about a divine decade of excellence, and this is all a part of it. Do your thing, brother, do your thing. Let's listen. Now, you know, if Chinnisberry could throw up the hooks right now, he would. There they go.
They start hopping if they could. They're trying to bring that Orangeburg momentum with them here. And the reason what got them going, what got the Qs going, well, it started off with this bomb with a perfect throw to Nigel Johnson right over the outstretched arms of the defensive back. And then you finish it off with a great run by Jordan Smith with the spin move and the balance. And, whoa, don't go nowhere now. These Bulldogs from Orangeburg decided they're going to show up here in Atlanta at some point.
After being blanked in the first half, 14 unanswered from South Carolina State. Now he said, wait a minute, I know all that Q love, that purple and gold, but you don't see Jordan Smith on the sideline. I see him, wipe me down, comes on, and he's representing for Kappa Alpha Psi. We're doing a little shimmy on the sideline. Kellen Stewart on the return for PV, trying to set up some great field position, a good return, and a penalty marker. Looked like it came out at the end of that return. Well, plenty of excitement today, and that carries over as we kick off your Week 15 NFL Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern with the Countdown Crew on ESPN and the ESPN app. They'll go through all the previews of the games right up to kickoff, and then, of course, Monday Night Football with the Dolphins and the Steelers. We'll also have Peyton and Eli on ESPN2. Coverage kicks with NFL Live at 3 Eastern, and Scott Van Pelt, and then Monday Night Countdown. We saw a flag there during the return, a block in the back against the Panthers. So that pushes them back. They'll start this drive from their own 10-yard line. The starting field position has not been favorable thus far in this game for PV. Third start inside the 10. And Cam Peters stays on his feet, barely avoiding Jordan Franklin. Peach State fell out of Waynesboro. And great play made as Jordan Franklin bringing that pressure to Peters.
It comes in on a little inside stunt from that linebacker position there. Coaches talked about him, said one of the quietest guys on the team, but one of the best football player prospects we have. Big play for the Bulldogs.
Peters in his own end zone, throws it out to the left. Lamongier, Daniel McDowell. And right now, waking up the Bulldog defense as we send it down to Q on the field.
It's been a Prairie View emotional power outage in the second half. This team that was bouncing around with electricity in the first half right now, flat as a pancake as this game is slipping out of their grasp.
And Q, what did you and I talk about after that fumble on the reverse? Very risky play, not rewarded.
Did he call in the catch? Cameron Bonner was trailing out of bounds.
And you want to talk about a risky play? This is the riskiest key play of the game so far, and it was great defense. Watch number 7, Kevon Chisholm. Once he gets him, he rides him to the ground, disrupts the exchange, and then it was Jordan Dollar to pick it up to advance the ball downfield for the defense. And ever since that moment, it's been all South Carolina State.
Now, we already know Chinnis Berry and his Berry-isms. Harry told us earlier about holding the rope, how they would handle adversity. They saw some earlier in the season in the non-conference against South Carolina and USF, that they went on the road to North Carolina Central. They had all these moments, and the way that they have responded coming out of the locker room, this group hungry, as a flag, a delay of game is going to go against Prairie View.
Delay of game. Kicking team. Half the distance to the goal. It's 4th down.
And with this delay game penalty, the return man has to be smart. He did a good job, Jalen Johnson, on the last punt return, getting the yardage. The key when you have a low line drive kicker that's kicking line drives low, you got to catch it. Don't let the ball hit the turf. If you catch the ball right where you're standing on the 40-yard line, that's still great field position. But if that ball hits the ground and rolls, that can neutralize it.
Standing at the back of the end zone is Atwell. He gets it off. Trailing back, and what a tackle made in the open field for the Panthers. And that's Denarius Hollywood with the tackle.
Fantastic open field tackle, because there was plenty of room if he would have been able to escape. But good job by the special teams of Prairie View A&M.
Well, Jonathan Williams, let's see what he comes back with a backup quarterback and Ryan Stubblefield in the play calling. Billy Atkins, the 4th, looking on, helped get this team back to the Cricket Celebration Bowl, 9-win season for the Bulldogs.
This going empty formation, showing the trust in his quarterback. I think Stubblefield will be the running attack, and you've got the wide receivers trying to spread out this defense.
The fastball gunned in there to DeAndre Ruffin. Ruffin out of Savannah, Georgia, a 14-yard gain. And I'm going to pull out something that Chennis Berry always likes to talk about. Now, this season, he says we've got to win now. We've got to seize the opportunity now. Now standing for no opportunity wasted. They have taken full advantage here in this second half, and Stubblefield is brought down for no gain by Kennedy Parker.
Those linebackers from Prairie View A&M, they are quick, fast, and cause disruptions all over the field. But that's something I thought you would see more of with Stubblefield entering the game, trying to establish a quarterback rushing attack.
Well, gimpy there is Stubblefield. You see, they have gotten nicked a little bit. 4 wide receivers set. Stubblefield looking to his right, goes to the outside as Nigel Johnson had a defender draped on him, and a penalty marker comes out with Jalen Shelton on the coverage.
And the location of this throw by Stubblefield was fantastic. Back shoulder.
Pass interference. Defense, number 27. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
He threw this to the back shoulder where the defensive back, even though he had pretty good coverage, you see him holding on to the jersey right there with that line drive throw. Threw it away where the defensive back thought he made a good play, but he was holding and the official could see it. First down, Bulldogs.
And now the speed that you talked about earlier in this game for Prairie View's defense, one of the best in FCS, being tested here in this third quarter. Under 6 minutes to go in the third frame. Stubblefield avoiding one Prairie View Panther. As Sterling Roberts was bringing the push, Kennedy Parker finishing it off.
You know, one of the reasons they're not running the ball, you see big number 99 right there for Prairie View A&M. 6'3", 375-pound defensive tackle, Sparks Jr.
Elijah Juan Sparks Jr. out of Birmingham, Alabama. All right, now let me tell you this. Tremaine Jackson says, I like big guys. I like big guys. Now, you know, may have to size up a little bit for the big fella. Wide open look and an excellent haul in. Hype me up, says the Bulldogs. Hype me up, I'll hype me up. Jordan Smith has been unleashed here in this second half and 1 point away from tying it up after being down 21-0.
When you're chasing demons and skeletons from the past, you have to put them to bed. And South Carolina State said, wait a minute, we're playing that Prairie View in the second half. What a football game.
21 unanswered points. And South Carolina State knots it up in this HBCU National Championship. You talked about Jordan Smith making his third trip to the Cricket Celebration Bowl, trying to make this one count. Oh, yeah.
Let's take a look at how South Carolina State was able to tie up this ball game. And this is just a simple little wheel route. What do you do right there? Find a soft spot in the coverage. And then once you see them do this, they spread it out. They flood the zone wide open. They come up. Look at the concentration on the catch. And when you make a catch like that on national TV and you're a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, give me a little shimmy, shimmy. Is that what they call it, Tiff?
Yo. Meanwhile, Chennis Berry hyping up South Carolina State fans just when you thought it was out. Down and out for the Bulldogs. They come in black with plenty of bite here.
Are the Qs rolling with the Kappas? The Kappas and Qs rolling together?
There's harmony right now to try to win a national championship. And Greek love on display here at the Cricket Celebration Bowl. Not about how you start, it's how you finish. Prairie View A&M came out swinging first in this heavyweight fight, scoring the first 21 points of the game. They were cruising. They knocked out Billy Atkins, the fourth of this ball game, the starting quarterback for the Bulldogs. So what does Ryan Stubblefield come in and do? In relief?
Comes in from the bullpen.
Yeah.
He was hot, throwing strikes. found the strike zone, and now Prairie View A&M's got a problem.
4 plays so far in this second half, no yards, and that fumble, which really sparked everything here, and good anticipation there by Jared Washington coming in to break up the play.
That's how you play cornerback. He put himself in a position where he's going to jump the route, but even if he doesn't get the interception, he's going to take the angle that's going to produce the tackle to minimize it. This is fantastic. Watch him drop, drop, drop. Okay, I'm jumping this route, but if I don't get it, I have to be able to get the receiver down. Great execution.
Cam Peters with time, drops back, drifts, and into the hands of Josiah Rockwell as we send it down to Harry.
Guys, we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Chenisberry talked about adversity building this team, not just from last year into this year. He also said they played in moments all season. He talked about playing South Carolina, USF. He said the lead up to winning the MEAC championship. This is yet another moment for this football team. And I got to tell you, I feel like I am on a completely different sideline in a completely different stadium from the first half. The energy over here is so different, so much better for South Carolina State.
Well, that's great insight, Harry, because things have changed. A shift in the balance as Cam Peters has Josiah Rockwell open. And he comes back to get that one, and Rockwell into Bulldog territory. The first half belonged to Cam Peters.
Yeah, great job coming back to the football. Does he get his hands below? I think that's a catch. Good job of getting both hands underneath to help out his quarterback on an underthrown pass.
The junior out of McKinney, Texas, in Rockwell. Peters zipping it across the middle, and this time in the hands of Cameron Bonner. And where they said Cameron Peters felt most comfortable was in the short and intermediate passing games. We have seen a number of explosive plays down the field for Peters as he quickly gets it out of his hands and over to the left side, and Andre Dennis. And Dennis, a good gain on first down as he's tied up briefly with Brennan Scott.
And this is where you have to change up your philosophy. You're South Carolina State. Now you crowd the box, because at some point you have the feeling Prairie View is going to try and run Cam Peters on a quarterback draw or some type of running play. Your cornerbacks have to make a play. You have to come up with some run blitzes and hope that your secondary is good enough to make a play, particularly versus the crossing routes. They really like to throw a heavy dose of crossing routes, this Prairie View A&M offense.
You see where DC Jordan O'Daffer dials up for the Bulldogs defense. Here on this second down, Peters drifting back, has an open man in the end zone. And there it is. You mentioned it, Jay, and a touchdown to Andre Dennis from 13 yards out. And the response we've seen from Tremaine Jackson's group on the following drive.
Too easy. And Cam Peters found his groove again. In that drive there, started making some throws, underthrew the one pass. Rockwell came back to help. Once he made that catch, that was it. You knew that Peters was going to find his rhythm and start picking apart this defense again.
The extra point is up and it's through as we take a look at today's playbook, brought to you by Coca-Cola.
The key has been Cam Peters just open up the playbook, showing you why he's a dual threat quarterback with the legs, the ability to run the football. But this play right here was the one that gave South Carolina State hope. And once you give them hope, they kept hope alive as they chipped away at the lead. They got into the end zone, and then they came up with a fantastic catch to tie it up. But Prairie View A&M said, we're not done. They came up with their own response.
And Cam Peters, 20 of 29, 325 yards and 3 touchdowns. And that one to Cameron Bonner puts them back on top.
And that was a championship caliber response by Prairie View A&M.
Jay, we expected a heavyweight fight, and what we saw last week in that SWAC championship, from Prairie View A&M, a team that just knows how to execute. Meanwhile, Chennisberry always talks about the separation is in the preparation, in a one-score ball game here with an HBCU national championship on the line. Well, tonight at 7 Eastern on ABC and the ESPN app, we'll have the 91st annual Heisman Trophy ceremony. The finalists are Notre Dame's Jeremiah Love, Indiana's Fernando Mendoza, and Vanderbilt's Diego Pavia, along with Ohio State's Julian Sand. Chris Fowler hosts the 32nd straight year. And I gotta say this, Jay, it feels wide open. Do you have advantage in the QB?
Love is a fantastic running back, but I think, quarterback Mendoza from Indiana, he won the football game. It's hard to vote against perfection. They're perfect on the season, so I think he'll be the guy I would choose to win it.
We talked about Ryan Stubblefield coming in this season. It points throughout. That Wofford game, very close one, able to pull it out. Charleston Southern, Stubblefield started that game. They walked away with the loss there and at South Florida. But again, having some of that starting experience this season has aided him in a big moment like this.
And I think, for the team as a whole, you talk about how close those games are, and I think the key is they've won these football games. So you can have a football game and lose close, but they've had the ability to find creative ways to win those football games. And Chennisberry said that's the key. That was the difference. Last year's team was untested pretty much throughout the regular season. This year's team is battle-tested.
Across the middle and gunned in there to Jordan Smith, and you can see a theme here in the second half. Find number 5 in white.
And this is what you call chemistry. So Jordan Smith was supposed to run a post route, but he broke off the post route because he realized the safeties were not going to let him get behind him. He broke off the route, stopped, settled in the middle of the field, and his quarterback found him for a first down.
So first down for South Carolina State into Prairie View territory at their 49-yard line. Here's Jones. Jones along that right side, spinning, and a flag comes out.
You're holding on the outside, and that's the risk you take when you run those jet sweeps on the outside. So easy for a lineman or a tackle or a wide receiver to get caught holding.
Jones looked like he's cramping up
10-yard
as
penalty.
he goes to the sideline, and he's being carried off by Jordan Smith, and that's a teammate right there, folks. I don't think I've seen that before, Jay, where a teammate carries another teammate off in that manner.
I've seen him carry him down, but he's like, come on, I got you. Wide receiver, brother, stick together. And Jordan Smith carried him off and stayed in the game.
Right, yeah.
He wants to stay in the game. He realizes they need all hands on deck.
Wide receivers, twin stacks. Stubblefield. Again. Who is it? That's that man, Jordan Smith.
I thought that was the ETM that just carried somebody off the field, or the EMT, but a good job of securing this football. Stubblefield throws another strike on a rope, taking advantage of this weak spot between the cornerback and the safety.
Well, it's been a breakout season for Jordan Smith, who waited his turn behind Caden High, and these two teams no strangers to one-score games. South Carolina State perfect in them, 4-2 for Prairie View A&M, as that takes us to the end of the quarter. And folks, this is setting up for the championship rounds here from the Cricket Celebration Bowl. Whatever you need, I got you. I'm gonna scoop you up, make sure I look out for you. This is what being a brother is all about. Sowed with intention, rooted in purpose. This is 10 years of greatness at the Cricket Celebration Bowl. You are watching the Cricket Celebration Bowl. A champion will rise here in Mercedes-Benz Stadium going into the fourth quarter. Our cue was able to catch up with Coach Tremaine Jackson.
Coach, what was your reaction? What was your reaction to that third quarter?
Yeah, good football team, man. We let them get some momentum off a turnover, and it kind of snowballed. But we was able to get it back right at the end of the third quarter. Now we just need to get a stop, and we can deaden it some more.
What's the response look like from here?
Yeah, we just got to keep playing. Nobody said this was going to be easy. It's a national championship game. We just got to keep playing.
Thank you, Coach.
And the calm that we're seeing out of Tremaine Jackson, what does his team need to do, in your opinion?
Well, I think they got to solve the riddle, which is Ryan Stubblefield. I think they got off to a good start there, contain him in the pocket, take away his pre-snap read, and then we decide to tuck it and run, have guys close to the line of scrimmage. The linebacker core is the key for this defense for Prairie View A&M. They've got to find their spots.
Stubblefield taking off an area where he does a great job, and a couple of penalty markers come out in the process of the run. And a hold is going to wipe out a 23-yard gain.
Holding. Offense, number 55. 10-yard penalty. It's second down.
This is going to be a tough break right here, because you'll take a look at number 55 right here in the middle of the screen. They're going to call it on him. He was engaged. He was engaged. A little tight call right there, but
was he married, engaged, betrothed? You know,
it's tough because they ran a stunt. Actually, the linebackers from Prairie View, for the first time, took themselves out of run-contained support. And Stubblefield made them pay, but just that holding brought it back.
Now 2nd and 21, and Tyler Smith out of the backfield, still on his feet, looking for a little room. And a gain of 4, so it's going to bring up 3rd and long. And what we saw in that third quarter from South Carolina State was their offense found their rhythm. You have talked about the rhythm and the control that we saw from Prairie View in that first half, but Ryan Stubblefield has come in, the backup quarterback, and helped this offense move the ball down the field. 129 yards in that third quarter with Billy Atkins, the 4th, watching on. And on 3rd and 17, Stubblefield looking and got his man. Who is it? That's Jordan Smith spinning and brought down by Cameron Amau. First down inside the red zone, 33-yard catch and run.
Another strike, outside corner of the plate, going down the seam, and is able to get the ball there before the linebacker can get over there to get underneath the seam. And then you'll see that after the catch, the balance, the athleticism by George Smith.
Well, he has just been fantastic here in this second half, leading the conference in receiving yards this season. A first-team all-conference selection, takes a breather. And able to get it off before the play clock expires, right up the middle. And Jay, you have talked about being able to run the football and running right at the teeth of the defense for the Panthers.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. You have to pick a hole and take advantage of it. Tell your running back, don't worry about dancing, just run downhill.
All right, so this is a tale of the tape, Jay. I mean, South Carolina State was shut out through the first 2 quarters. And then they came out of the locker room, I'm sure after Chinnis Berry delivered one of his Chinnis Berry type speeches. They put up 21 points in the third, and now they're trying to even up this ball game. With Stubblefield breaking through arm tackles, and Ryan Stubblefield down to the 1-yard line. 1st and goal.
And the maturity of offensive coordinator Jonathan Williams coming into play, one of the youngest offensive coordinators in the country, dialed up some misdirection in order to set up the quarterback run. So if you can't run downhill at him, get the defense going one way, then have him going back the other way, and then run your quarterback right up the middle.
An injured Panther on the field as Stadarius Hollywood able to trot to the sideline. It's going to set up 1st and goal from the 2-yard line. And Jay, what I find interesting is that it was Prairie View who had all the momentum in that first half, as you've talked about, but now South Carolina, who has been to to this stage before. They have been here for now the third time in 5 years. And they've got an opportunity to even up this game at 28 apiece. If they can punch it in, how would they respond? They have responded with throwing blows here in the second half. Josh Shaw in the backfield with Stubblefield. Stubblefield lowers his head. And second and goal upcoming.
And if you're not going to use Josh Shaw as the primary runner in this short yardage situation, a running back that weighs 220 pounds, and as a quarterback, you have to follow him as the lead. And that's a good look at Jonathan Williams, the offensive coordinator, who's a little bit of an HBCU legend as well. Played quarterback at Grambling, but he needs to dial up something to get his team in the end zone.
Stubblefield looking for some room, runs into the end zone. Hooks thrown up, take the picture. South Carolina State looking to even it up.
And you see right there, a little bit more patience. Allow the blockers to come around, get in front of the linebackers, find a crease. And that, by South Carolina State, that was a championship caliber response as well.
And Stubblefield, who has been fantastic coming in, 9 of 13 through the air for 160 yards and a touchdown passing, and he just ran it into the end zone. And understanding that the moment is now, Chennis Berry always knows what to say to fire up his team.
No turning back, ain't no do-overs. You plan your work, then you work your plan. Well, it's time for us now to go work our plan. The separation always is in the preparation. We prepare for this moment right here. This team is built for this moment.
Let's check out our cricket game track in South Carolina State. Evening up this ball game with Billy Atkins IV, their starting QB, out with an injury. And Cameron Peters on the other side, the Prairie View quarterback, continuing his magical season. But I'm gonna tell you this, as we take a look at this Cricket Wireless game track, Ryan Stubblefield, who has come in, and no game plan for him. They haven't been able to slow him down. He's found his man, Jordan Smith, has been his favorite target. And 28 all here from Atlanta.
And then the pressure goes to Prairie View A&M now, whereas we've said that South Carolina State has had to figure out ways to try and cool off Cameron Peters. Well, now Prairie View A&M, unexpected territory. How do you cool off the backup quarterback that's coming to this game on fire?
Well, Cam Peters, who has been great so far today, we saw him have nearly 400 of total yards of offense in that SWAC championship win last weekend. And now Cameron Peters with the moment. If you're Chris Buckner, what adjustments are you going to make here in the final 10:44 to continue to move the ball?
I mean, find that rhythm with Cam Peters. You know, they've had pretty good rhythm. They're at 28 points right now. You're going to need more than that to win this thing. But I still think they took away the leg and the running ability from Cam. They stepped the box. So what do you do as a quarterback? Whenever they outnumber count like you're seeing right now in the box, you have to be able to complete the balls. Doesn't have to be deep passes, but they just have to be completions nonetheless.
Well, pedal to the metal in this opening day of bowl season here from Atlanta for the Cricket Celebration Bowl, and Shadrick Bird had nowhere to go as gobbled up by Jordan Franklin. Loss of 3 on the play.
Following the keys, little double screen left or right. They chose to go right with it, and Jordan Franklin blew it up.
Special talent he is, converted from safety. He plays a lot all over the field. Remember Aaron Smith, number 11, back in the day for South Carolina State, will stepping into that role as Jordan Franklin this season. Peters with time, looking into the hands of Cameron Bonner down the sideline, and Cameron Bonner, you're not gonna catch him, 78 yards, but a penalty marker out as well, back near the line of scrimmage.
But when you play so much man-to-man coverage, not only do you have to cover, but you have to tackle.
Personal foul. Hands to the face. Defense, number 99. The 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
Wow. So the former player for Coach Tremaine Jackson, Jamore Jones at Valdosta State, now with South Carolina State. Hands to the face, the touchdown stands as Cameron Bonner stays on his feet. The balance and the longest play of the season for PV.
And that's the hands to the face that they're calling there, but really didn't matter at all as the play stood. And that's the risk. When you put defensive backs on an island, they have to cover, they have to tackle if they give up a catch, and they weren't able to do so. And Prairie A&M made them pay with a big play.
2 plays, 75 yards, less than a minute for the strike from Prairie View A&M, and the Panthers regain the lead here in the A.
The Cricket Celebration Bowl is brought to you by Cricket 5G and the U.S. Air Force. Aim high in the U.S. Air Force. Start your future today at airforce.com.
Coming in as the underdogs back in 2021, it was South Carolina State besting Jackson State, and what a moment it was for Oliver Buddy Pugh, the legendary coach, and his Bulldogs to walk out of Atlanta with a national championship. That was a slow start to the season, Jay, and they turned things around in a major way, much like we have seen from the Bulldogs here in this second half.
So you see, the game-changing moment really became when William Atkins IV, Billy Atkins, had to lead the game here, and you really thought South Carolina State was in trouble, but they went to the bullpen, and they found a relief pitcher that was hot. Ryan Stubblefield has been unstoppable with this Bulldog offense and really giving them that spark they needed, and South Carolina State has made this a game.
Jet sweep into the hands of Jordan Smith, who has been really important in this comeback as Josh Shaw down on the field and is slow to get up, as we've seen Jordan Smith really help take over. 5 receptions, 89 yards, caught a touchdown. Stubblefield, who has also been outstanding as well. Shaw is kind of crawling to the sideline. Jay, South Carolina State seeking the biggest comeback in Celebration Bowl history. They were down 21 points after the first half. Biggest comeback thus far was when FAMU did it down 14 over Howard back in 2023. And Stubblefield not on the same page with his receiver. Pass incomplete, and it's 3rd down.
And the key for this, you say, well, if this game becomes a shootout, who does it favor? Well, South Carolina State came in averaging 31.8 points a game. Prairie View A&M comes in averaging 31.1 points a game. So both offenses are able to compete if it becomes a shootout.
And look at the energy inside the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Jumping on the sideline from Prairie View. Defense trying to come up with a stop. And the pass incomplete to Jalen Johnson, and a stop indeed.
Trying to go back to that back shoulder fade route throw there. Defended pretty well by Demarius Hollywood. Just forced the incomplete pass.
You see Jonathan Williams talking with his quarterback on the sideline as the punting unit back on again. Drenish, second team all-conference performer, ready to punt it away. Andre Dennis awaits. Good air underneath it, end over end. And Dennis returning it, starting from his own 15, little jitterbug move, and a punt of 45 yards, a 9-yard return, and a flag down during the play. Scott Broadway and this Sun Belt officiating crew, we will await the call here.
During the return, holding, return team number 1, 10-yard penalty, it's first down.
So our backup Prairie View, 10 yards after the hold called against Jacoby Banks. Stain. We'll step aside with 8:45 remaining in this HBCU National Championship. HBCU National Championship. Too black, too strong in the ATL.
We absolutely got to have your best.
This is 10 years of greatness at the Cricket Celebration Bowl. You're watching the Cricket Celebration Bowl, part of Capital One Bowl Mania on ABC. Harry Lyles Jr., Quinn Kesnick, Jay Walker, Tiffany Green back here with you. And Prairie View A&M in uncharted waters, but they have been captained by Cameron Peters in their first Celebration Bowl appearance, trying to capture an HBCU national championship. Peters with not much room to run as we send it down to Q.
You are watching one of the greatest transformations in college football history. This Prairie View A&M program, infamously known for an 80-game losing streak from 1989 to 1998. That's 9 years they went without a win. Poor funding, few scholarships, coaching and athletic department issues. But they hired Tremaine Jackson last January, and the transformation from old to new has been immediate. First SWAC championship in 16 years with 70 new players. They have gone from ordinary and imperfect to near champions, 8 minutes away.
They have an opportunity to finish off what could be an extraordinary season if they are able to close out this game. And when we talked with Tremaine Jackson, Jay, he mentioned, hey, look, we weren't focused on a SWAC championship. We were dialed in on just getting 10 wins. That hadn't been done since College Football Hall of Fame head coach Billy Nix did it, leading them to a 10-win season in 1963. But now that they're here, he says the SWAC championship is taken care of, and now we've got an opportunity to close in on something we hadn't done in a really long time.
Crossing routes. You missed it. I mean, they've been making their bread and butter on the crossing routes there, and you had an opportunity to have Cameron Bonner come across the formation, but because the timing was off a little bit, Cameron Peters off his spot, inaccurate throw, and the Bulldogs get a stand. You know, going back to what Q had said about, you know, the history of Prairie View, you know, it took a lot to get them there, and I think the athletic director, Anton Goff, deserves a lot of credit for taking the program to the next level. But let's not forget, I always think of Prairie View football in the modern era as the guy that brought him back, and that was Henry Frazier. You know, Henry Frazier, nobody wanted that job, nobody was knocking down the door, and Frazier not only took that job and started winning, he won a conference championship. Now this is the next level, uncharted territory, I would say, in the modern era of college football for Prairie View A&M football.
Well, with so much movement in the coaching space, we've seen former NFL players come in and take over as head coaches. But the Division II recipe for success that we have seen from Tremaine Jackson coming over from Valdosta State, Chennis Berry, who had great success at Benedict College, and now here with FCS programs leading their teams to the national championship game. You've got to tip your hat to both.
And you see the first year HBCU coaches there, you know, Buckley, the NFL guy at Mississippi Valley, they fought hard all year. Deshaun Jackson, probably somebody's coach of the year, did a fantastic job at Dale State. Tremaine Jackson, Michael Vick, and you know, Marshall Falk. That's the new headline right there. And also got to mention Sam Shade, who is a former NFL player who got the head coaching job at Alabama A&M in his first year.
Putting some air underneath it and letting his receiver try to go get it, but great defense there by Eric Zachary as Nigel Johnson was the intended target. Seatbelt gang.
And I really like the air he put under this throw. That way you give the wide receiver an opportunity to adjust. He just didn't locate the ball soon enough to try and get it at its high point. Had he jumped and left his feet, probably would have forced a pass interference penalty.
Under 7 minutes to go. And the last two Celebration Bowls starting off for South Carolina State didn't necessarily look so good through 6 quarters. They were outscored, but since then they have surged here in this second half as Jordan Smith can't come up with it. And it's 3rd down. Trinity Ward was there on the coverage.
And the thing about it, when you throw nothing but fastballs, if that pitch is a little bit behind, a little bit off target, you allow the defensive back to come back and play. The consecutive incompletions, and we're starting to see Stubblefield stub his toe a little bit here in this football game when his team needs him to come up and make a big play.
Yeah, 4 straight incompletions. They need to try to convert here on 3rd down, and he does.
Of course,
as
to who?
Jordan Smith. Jordan Smith, who has just been his guy. I mean, they are absolutely on the same page here in the second half.
Yeah, he does a good job setting up his routes. Nice double move, and he sticks it at the top of the route, makes the catch. And really like the story, Jordan Smith. You don't find that in college football too often. Guy that waits his turn to pay his dues. You know, never was that featured guy, was behind like Caden High last year, who moved on and transferred. But Jordan Smith this year, what did he do when his number was called this year? 50 catches in the regular season, almost 800 yards from the wide receiver position.
And a young man who already has his degree as well as on the carry here. And a short gain for the ball carrier for the Bulldogs. That's KZ Adams. Adams, first time he's run the football today. Fantastic running back out of the state of South Carolina. In high school, rushed for more than 3,000 yards in a season to lead the nation. And here on 3rd and 5, what do you go to now with Jordan Smith coming to the sideline, Jay?
Yeah, no negative play. They just want to pick up half of this, so that way they're telling you it's 4 down territory. Change up the personnel, trying to sneak in Johnny Jones at the slot, run him across the formation.
Going to his left and into the hands of Johnny Jones, just as you mentioned, Jay. Great recognition by you, partner.
Yeah, they hit him with the big formation, put some big tight ends in there to distract. You'll see him sneak, stay low, get across the formation, 1-step leverage. Nice throw, nice catch, good execution.
And Jonathan Williams, who has made the necessary adjustments here in this second half.
No. Can't afford to do that. I know you have to. But when you're in the trail position and you're down by 7, you need to keep all those timeouts. We'll see if that does cost them later.
Yeah, timeouts certainly precious, as you saw the reaction from offensive coordinator Jonathan Williams having to take that timeout.
Yeah, I thought I saw about 15 to 18 seconds on the clock when he made up his mind that he was going to do it because of a substitution change. But in that case, they're not a 3rd down. 1st and 10, calling that timeout there. That's when you have to trust your quarterback and tell the quarterback, call a play. You got the person out there, call a simple run play. Timeout's a little bit more valuable than I think that down.
While we have a moment, let's check out our college football look ahead, brought to you by Truist. Just to remind you folks, the first round of the college football playoff begins next weekend, December 19th and 20th. Quarterfinals, semifinals with the national championship game culminating on January 19th. And taking a look at the matchups going in, the top 12 teams, and what matchup do you circle here? You said Miami, Texas A&M.
Yep.
What about?
I think everybody wants to know what's going to happen with Tulane and Ole Miss.
Okay.
I mean, who's coaching Ole Miss? They've got the temporary coaches in there, I think you could say, but will the players fight?
John Summerall stays with the Green Wave before going over to take over at the University of Florida. Here on 2nd and 7, just over 4.5 minutes to go. We heard Harry Lyles Jr. on that South Carolina State sideline talk about holding the rope, how South Carolina State is needing to trust each other. When adversity strikes, who's going to hold the rope? They have held each other down here in the second half, trailing by a score and looking to even it up. And some laundry flies onto the field before the snap.
False start. offense, number 62. 5-yard penalty, second down.
They losing that rhythm. You know, they call a timeout on first down, and then you have the mental error with the false start. And now all of a sudden, against this defense, when you have to find a way to score the touchdown, you have to think it's 4-down territory the rest of the game with 4 minutes left to go, and you're down by a touchdown. Unless you have to kick the field goal, if you keep it close, you're going for it on fourth down.
And if you're Prairie View, you just want to make sure you pay attention to number 5 in white, Jordan Smith. We've called his name a ton here in the back half of this game.
Nigel Johnson one-on-one up top.
Going forward is Stubblefield and can't bring it in as Nigel Johnson had a shot at it. A couple of purple jerseys around.
You know, and for all the young DBs at home, they say, how do you play when you get in trouble? Watch him play the receiver. He realizes he's beat. He dislodges his hands, just grabs his arms to pull him down. And that's why the ball comes loose.
And then the aftermath, wow. Eric Zachary, who ended up making a great play in the cornerback. Well, headbutt afterward, extracurricular. Stubblefield pump fakes, and it is wrestled down. Great play by Malik Nuthaki, the senior out of Sacramento.
The indecision, a little bit of confusion on the play call, and now.
This is a huge fourth down coming up here, as South Carolina State's going to spend their second timeout, Jay.
All on the line right here. You know, 4th and 15, you really don't have that many plays in your playbook that you can dial up in this situation. You know, you almost wonder if you punt it and the ball goes into the end zone, it's going to come right back to where it is. So I agree with that, unless you feel absolutely certain that you can pin them inside the 5-yard line. But with them calling the timeout, you've only got one left, so it's got to become the moment of truth.
And just a reminder to our viewers, tune in to the post-game afterward, immediately following this one for our Capital One post-game. South Carolina State out of Orangeburg, less than an hour from Columbia, and this group who was trailing by as many as 21, now within a score, an all-important fourth down. The Bulldogs this season, 6 of 16 converting.
I wouldn't be surprised if Prairie View only rushed 2 and dropped 9 back in coverage. This is a look you just don't practice for. You just got to catch the ball and lower your shoulder.
Stubblefield steps up, makes the throw, and into the hands of Jordan Smith. Stubblefield, who got popped afterward, but he stood in the pocket strong and delivered it to Jordan Smith.
You know, and when you have a guy that throws nothing but fastballs and rockets, he can take what he wants to in the crease of a zone. So that was zone coverage. A quarterback with not a strong arm, or the defensive back can probably get there in time to break it up. But a guy that's zinging it in there can get the ball there in a hurry if you give him a little crease.
Jay, that was on 4th and 15. And again, Jordan Smith coming up huge as getting to the outside. Julian Milligan, not much room to run. Mao stopping him for no gain.
Mao coming up from his safety position to let you know this is Prairie View. You don't beat us to the outside. Too much team speed. They made the adjustments to the jet sweep. Now maybe you give a little misdirection. I like when South Carolina State did the misdirection. Make them think you're going left and then go up the middle. Make them think you're going right, then go up the middle. But you can't just go straight outside.
They've walked away with 4 touchdowns in the red zone, now making their 5th trip. Can they get another? Jalen Johnson is in motion. Stubblefield with time. He saw some room to the left side. Gets out of bounds wisely, Jay, as Sterling Roberts chased him out. And he's still down on the ground.
It looked like for a moment there that Stubblefield was going to score a touchdown. But Roberts kicked into a gear like a heat-seeking missile and blew that play up.
They'll let it wind down and take us to the 2-minute timeout.
2-minute timeout.
And you can see just everybody leaving it all on the field. Both sides coming up, trying to push through to the final result as they won a national championship. South Carolina State, Prairie View, A&M. It's all on the line. 2 minutes to go in regulation.
Kevin Connors in studio. We are 12 minutes away from a big-time playoff matchup in Missoula. Keali'i Ayat, over 3,500 yards passing on the year, set to take on a stingy South Dakota team. Tiffany, after we go final in Atlanta.
Thanks so much, Kevin. And you couldn't script a better close potentially to this Cricket Celebration Bowl in this 2025 edition. Phenomenal couple days here in Atlanta, the Band of the Year competition, national champions crown for marching bands, and here on the football field, will it be South Carolina State or Prairie View A&M? Looking into the end zone, hauls it in, that's Jordan Smith! How fitting is it that Jordan Smith brings in his third touchdown of the game, all in this second half. He said, rain, sleet, or snow, I'm a ball every season. And right now, he is stepping into his season, the journey that started at the beginning of the year, wanting to get back here to Atlanta. Smith's third trip to the Celebration Bowl. He wants to cap it off with a dub. But it's Alty. It's up.
Whoa.
And it's through, barely through. Tied up.
This
and
could
a
get
flag
interesting.
down. This will be very interesting in the decision. Running or roughing the kicker. We'll hear.
Running into the kicker on the defense. Penalty is declined.
They declined it. I thought if you were a yard and a half out, maybe you think
would have
about
potentially gone
trying
for
to take the lead to put the pressure on, but that's why we're in the booth. Almost seemed as if this was going to be a block. PAT ran into the kicker.
Kennedy Parker almost got to it. The
Billy
eyes.
Atkins saying, wow, are you seeing what I'm seeing?
Woo. They say it's a game of inches, just off the mark there from Kennedy Parker. And Jordan Smith, boy, he has been unbelievable here today. 8 receptions, 141 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 on the receiving end and 1 on the ground.
In his first year playing in the hot spot, where you're the go-to guy for South Carolina State after watching so many others come before him, being rewarded with the Celebration Bowl performance for the ages.
The buy-in from this new team, a lot of new faces coming in. Chennis Berry says, look, you've got to believe, unite, yield to the outcome, invest. We know now, no opportunity wasted in a 13-play drive resulting in a touchdown. And Prairie View A&M will get the ball back.
Look out.
Oh!
Can't do that. Wow.
Yikes. Kicks it out of bounds.
15-yard difference.
So he will get the ball, Prairie View will get the ball on the 35-yard line, under 2 minutes to go. And let's catch you up on what Jordan Smith has done in this game.
Let's introduce you to the Jordan Smith Show. They got him going in the run game, the great balance on the jet sweep around from his wide receiver position, and then continuing to show the athleticism, coming up with the clutch catches there, and then after this touchdown grab here, showed off his fraternity with the shimmy, kept it going, and this last play right here, the touchdown to tie it up, telling you he loved his mama, but he was so involved, he also carried not only his offense, but his teammate off the field so they wouldn't have to burn a timeout. Jordan Smith.
Fantastic performance today, and now the Panthers have an opportunity to potentially win this ball game. Remember, they started the season in the Labor Day Classic against rival Texas Southern with a 22-21 victory. It was Cam Peters who came up clutch. Rodney Ojo caught that game-winning touchdown. They've got a complement of 3 timeouts to work with. He's trying to find some running room as Shadrick Bird. I will say this, Jay. Special teams has been a question mark. The kicking game has been a question mark this season for the Panthers.
South Carolina State needs to make a stop. If they get the first down, that's not the worst thing that can happen to you. Their problem has been the explosive play in these third down situations. But on this drive, we've seen them come out in pure zone coverage, keeping everything in front. Risky as now they show the look like they're going to play man-to-man coverage, but they have to make sure they don't give up the explosive play.
In the final minute of regulation, Cam Peters tries to reach out and he's held up short.
Call timeout. If you're South Carolina State, call timeout, try and set up a punt return or a punt block. The defense came up big.
Jordan Franklin was the guy to wrap up Cameron Peters, who has had a career day through the air. And Peters, who has a Celebration Bowl record of 404 yards today, just 2 yards short of the first down marker. So South Carolina State spins their final timeout. They're looking to get the football back.
Cameron Peters, he did his job, but could not score the points when they needed to. That's a Celebration Bowl record with the 404 yards passing. And all that's for naught right now, unless his defense or special teams can help secure this game. Will at least go into overtime. He's a low-line drive punter, so you can set up a return on his punts, because if you can field it cleanly, you can get some momentum going forward.
Adam Atwell punts it away. And fair caught by Jalen Johnson. So they're going to have to drive the field as it's down at their own 15-yard line. Nico Campanillas-Alting, the second-team all-conference kicker, an area where Chinnisberry is very confident in the senior Spaniard. So he would need to get to, what, about the 33-yard line of Prairie View?
Didn't feel comfortable. He said 35 yards would be the max what he go to, but a situation like that, if you get it to 36, 37-yard line, hey, you go for it there. One thing of note, though, that extra point was almost blocked. And so anytime you're talking about going for a long field goal, you really have to shore up your protection and just take it all in. South Carolina State has to be breathing a sigh of relief. The fact that they were down 21-0, and here it is, they have the ball at the end of the game with a chance to possibly win it if they come up with a miracle in 37 seconds.
Only one overtime game in the Celebration Bowl. That was in 2022 when North Carolina Central bested Jackson State. And Stubblefield running the football as the time winding down. No timeouts, remember, for South Carolina State, as it's quickly down by Stubblefield. And Jay, this is exactly the way you want to start bowl season. Question mark here, though, now on what should be third down.
Yeah, it'll be third down. Now you have to run the football. If you don't get it, then they're going to make you punt the ball. So a little surprised when after the run they decided to spike the football.
In tight games this season, one-score games, South Carolina State has been perfect. Jordan Smith has been outstanding here in the second half. That'll temporarily stop the clock.
And a targeting hit. I think there's going to be a targeting hit for 15 yards at the end of this as well. But they were getting up to the line of scrimmage preparing to spike the football. Then the official came in and called an unnecessary roughness and probably targeting.
Highly unwise there, as you see there, lowering his head with the crown of his helmet. Leading was Trinity Ward, the safety for the Panthers. And indeed, was that 9.13 or something in the rule book?
And now they have to review it to see if Trinity Ward will stay in this game. I'm going to call him, he's going down to the ground. Oh, crown of the helmet.
Yeah, absolutely. Jerry McGinn, help us out here.
Jay, I'm agreeing with you. Unfortunately, this does not have to happen. We ask the players to keep their head up, see what they're hitting. This defensive player is not doing that. He's leading with his helmet. He's hitting with the crown of his helmet on a defenseless player. Unfortunately, this player is going to be done for the game.
Yep, that's what I saw. And I saw he was clearly defensive there, exposed, going towards the ground. A little bit of a cheap shot, and the head of the crown of the helmet there, and ear holding, as we used to say. And they're getting that out of the game.
You're right. It's more of a cheap shot than anything else. He's not trying to tackle him.
The ear hold. So now you're going to lose your starting safety in this game, and it's a passing situation. I'm with Jerry. I'd be shocked if Trinity Ward is still in this game there. Now, let me ask you this, Jerry. Give me an instance in why they may allow him to stay in the game and pick up the targeting penalty. You see anything there?
What, with this play right here?
Yes.
No. Well, if they would have called, unnecessary roughness with targeting, but I believe they just called targeting.
After video review, targeting is uphill. Number 35 is disqualified. Be a 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, just as you all saw it, folks, now Trinity Ward ejected from this ball game, starting safety.
Yes, he's out, but the 15 yards that go along with it. So now they're getting a little bit closer to what you say was that 32 to 35 yard line as a comfort range.
Yep.
Now they're getting closer to that. They're just a couple throws away from having a game-winning field goal attempt. Wow.
11-yard gain plus 15 yards for the penalty. And now with 21 seconds remaining in this one, no timeouts for South Carolina State, trying to set up for a potential game-winning field goal. Stubblefield looking for some room, throws it away, and lives to see another down. And again, we've got to just give our hats off to Ryan Stubblefield and the job that he has come in and done for Billy Atkins the fourth. 14 of 24, 232 yards through the air, and really helped to lift this team in the second half to help guide them and bring them back to a tie ball game and a chance to potentially win it. With pressure brought down by Sterling Roberts, the sack all up in his grill. Now can they spike it? And no.
That'll do it. One thing you cannot do in that situation is take a sack.
And so, folks, when 4 quarters just won't do in regulation, we've got overtime coming up here from the HBCU National Championship between South Carolina State and Prairie View A&M from Atlanta. Woo-wee! Living up to the billing. Back to the studio.
And Tiffany, we've got playoff football underway right now over on ESPN News. 12-1 Montana, home to 10-4 South Dakota, a Grizzlies team that hung 50 on South Dakota State last week. That game underway on ESPN News. Back to the ATL for overtime of a classic Celebration Bowl after this.
Welcome to Overtime, presented by Cheez-It.
It's crunch time. In the first overtime, each team gets a possession starting at the opponent's 25-yard line. If it goes to a second overtime, teams again start at the 25-yard line, but must attempt a 2-point conversion after a touchdown with no extra points allowed. From the third overtime on, teams alternate 2-point conversion attempts from the 3-yard line until the game is decided.
Regulation was not enough in this one. Prairie View A&M jumped out to a 21-0 lead, and the group out of the SWAC were rolling until South Carolina State from the MEAC came out of the locker room where they had a second half surge to tie up the ball game, and it was a back and forth affair Jordan Smith, Cameron Peters. We have seen some stars on display here today in a game that's produced your Tariq Cohens, your Travis Hunters, your Shedeur Sanders. This is a moment in the making. South Carolina State feels like they are built for this moment after coming up short a season ago. For Prairie View A&M, they've never been here before. First appearance in the Cricket Celebration Bowl. Jay Walker, Tiffany Green, Quint Kesnick, and Harry Lyles Jr. on the sidelines as we bring you overtime from the HBCU National Championship game.
You know, and in this game, Prairie View A&M has relied upon the explosive plays, those plays 20 yards or further. But those are harder to come by once you start off overtime on the 25-yard line. They've struggled when they've had to move the ball down, which is 4 or 5 yards at a time. So if you're South Carolina State, I'd come out soft zone early on defense to force Prairie View to run the ball so you take away the threat of the explosive play.
52 yards on the ground in this game for Prairie View as they look to go to the air. Cameron Peters going for it all, and the pass incomplete to Cameron Bonner. Second down.
Yeah, they went to the zone coverage there and confused Cameron Peters on his read where to go with the football. Now, if you're Prairie View A&M, don't be afraid to run the ball. Trust that offensive line. Trust your running quarterback to pick up positive yards on the second down play.
It's Shadrick Byrd, and Byrd.
Good execution.
Good effort there from Byrd. Gain of 7, 3rd and 3 as the helmet of Charles Arnold Jr. comes off for the Bulldogs. He'll trot off the field.
And how aggressive will South Carolina State be on this 3rd and 3 play? If they play man-to-man coverage, the speed of Prairie View has given them trouble at the wide receiver position. Looks like they're lining up to play man-to-man coverage. That means they're going to try and pressure the pocket. They better get there in a hurry. They got there in a hurry.
Snuffed out immediately and held up Jordan Dollard, who had that scoop fumble earlier, and comes up with the stop here. Jermaine Jackson saying, hey, let's kick a field goal. The pressure on here for the true freshman out of Cypress, Texas, Diego Alfaro. Mr. Field Goal a few times this season, 3 of 5. This one from 36 yards. It's up and it is through.
Clutch.
So Jermaine Jackson and his team take a 3-point lead in overtime. And South Carolina State with a chance to potentially tie or win it.
They scored the points, but South Carolina State, they've got 35 points. They haven't kicked the field goal all game. They're thinking, hey, we need another touchdown to win this. So as a quarterback, as a player, if the other team scored less than a touchdown, I was excited because I know my kicker was good enough to get me the field goal, to get me the points. But if I got a couple throws downfield, I can win it and be a hero. That's the mindset that Stubblefield has to have right now. Cannot risk the turnover, but also realize with a couple completed passes, your team can win the game in walk-off fashion.
All right, now, can they find a way to contain Jordan Smith? 9 receptions, 152 yards, 2 touchdowns. Find him on the field. There he is in the slot. Top of your screen. Stubblefield, the backup quarterback, in for the injured Billy Atkins IV. Here on first down, has him, and it's broken up. Great play by Trevor Randall, the impact player you said we should keep our eye on at the start of this game.
Yeah, he was beat. You know, more air on this throw. He can run underneath it. He got behind the safety, but when you line drive it, we talked about it, you allow the defensive back a route to undercut the throw. But if you're Prairie View A&M, you have to get out of that matchup. You cannot continue to have a safety lineup against George Smith in this game, no matter who it is.
Also, watch out for Number 12, Nigel Smith, or Johnson rather, at the bottom of your screen. They try to go to Smith underneath, incomplete, and now third down.
And 2 missed opportunities by Stubblefield. The previous play, that could have been a touchdown because Jordan Smith got behind him. And on that play right there, on that dump down, that checkoff, he could have rushed for 10, 15 yards after the catch. Ball just got away from him. Forget about those throws, settle down. He likes to attack seam, so I'm going to call some play that's going to try and give him some type of seam route vertically down the field where he can step into his throw.
Stubblefield feels pressure, flushed out, and throws it away. So now here on 4th down, and the defense does its job for Prairie View. And Chennis Berry is going to send out Nico Campania's Alti, who won a national championship at Kaiser, an NAIA school, before coming over. Again, a senior out of Madrid, Spain originally. And Campania's Alti on to attempt the 43-yarder to try to tie it.
Let's see if they shored up that protection on the inside. Last time Prairie View was able to come right up the middle and almost block an extra point.
Before he gets it off, a false start's going to go against South Carolina State.
74, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
So back him up an additional 5 yards, and closing in on a 50-yarder. It's going to be 48 yards, which would be a game tire.
I didn't see that. But they called it on the field. Now, this is a comfort zone kick, about as far as Coach Berry feels comfortable with his field goal kicker.
Alti, who hit a 50-yarder against Charleston Southern back in the non-conference here, to tie it up. It's up, it's got the leg, and it is through.
Wow. When one regulation's not enough and one overtime's not enough, what you do, Tiff?
You need 2. Just like when 100 ain't enough.
You need 101, like the band name. What a clutch field goal kick here. What pressure, comfort zone. How about right down the middle, split the uprights. Run it.
Folks, new territory. First time for double OT in this Cricket Celebration Bowl. South Carolina State erased a 21-point deficit. And now we find ourselves in the second overtime period. Prairie View, A&M, and South Carolina State duking it out for this HBCU National Championship.
And a couple changes now. So South Carolina State offensively will be going to their home side where their band is there, so that could become a factor. South Carolina State won the battle of attendance here at this game, so they've got more fans here. So when Prairie View A&M gets the ball, I expect them to hear a little bit of noise than we just heard when South Carolina State had the ball.
This tradition-rich program out of Orangeburg, South Carolina. First play from scrimmage. Josh Shaw stays on his feet. Trevor Randall, along with Daryl Starling Jr., hold him up. Loss of 5. It's going to bring up 2nd and 15.
You know what you have to do right now? Who got you here?
Jordan Smith and Stubblefield.
Go with him. We're not running the ball anymore. Stubblefield puts you in a position to win this game. He's going to win it for us or he's going to lose it for us. That's the way it's got to be. He came in the bullpen, throwing dimes, running for touchdowns, put it in his hands, and hopefully he and Jordan Smith can keep that connection going.
Quickly out in space is Julian Milligan. And Milligan gets near the original line of scrimmage with Cameron Amau making a tackle.
The pressure once again, 3rd and long. What can Stubblefield dial up for this Bulldog offense? They have Jordan Smith up top in the slot, short side boundary, so that really limits how much freeway he'll have.
Stubblefield going for Smith, or rather Nigel Johnson.
Picked picked off.
And it's picked off by Cornelius Davis Jr. Whoa. What a time to come up with the first INT of the season if you're Davis. And now, Prairie View with an opportunity to finish off the Bulldogs.
Trying to put his receiver in a position to make a great catch, but Johnson not able to hold on, and a great job coming over to clean it up by Davis, the safety. And now you just have to hope that your defense can make a play for you.
And Billy Atkins, the fourth, right there with Ryan Stubblefield, who came in relief after Atkins injured his shoulder back in the first half. And the look on his face says it all from Ryan Stubblefield. Now it's Prairie View A&M's turn with Cameron Peters already with a record performance here in this Cricket Celebration Bowl. Out to Andre Dennis, and Dennis, who's brought down. About a 6 or 7 yard gain here. Quickly back into the hands of the Panthers. Score here wins it for the Black Cats out of Texas. Dennis held up there on the outside, and the defense and pressure applied by Jalen Levine. Now 3rd and 3. Do you like this decision here, Jay, to throw it?
Oh, on second down, no. It was second and short, so they should have run the football. Obviously missed that opportunity with the incomplete pass. Now you're going to see the same look you saw that previous play. South Carolina State will load the box. Run-stopping defense. They're going to force you to throw the pass, and you're going to need Cam Peters to complete it.
Now remember, Peters, who has been dangerous with his feet as well, and they instead are just going to set it up for a field goal, and it's all going to come down to the freshman, Diego Alfaro, to try to win it here in double overtime for the Panthers.
If you see anything funny, a lineup, a look that we didn't practice, call the timeout. That's what the timeout in overtime is for. And you wonder if South Carolina State's probably going to try and call theirs as well with nothing to lose. Give them something to think about.
Comes down to this. Benjamin Stewart, the long snapper. Aiden Webb, the holder. Alfaro is going to have to think about it a little bit longer as South Carolina State spins the timeout. And so much running through the mind likely of the freshman. He missed a 26-yarder earlier in the game, went off the uprights, made it from 36, and this one is going to be from 38 yards out. And that's the score for both teams here in this double overtime. Ooh, Jay, this is fun. Now, we have talked about the decade of celebration here, the tradition-rich program of South Carolina State, turning the page from the past, Prairie View A&M, and this has been a destination set at the start of the season, and here it is now, coming down to this.
This could be the biggest kick in the history of Prairie View A&M football. That Prairie View with an opportunity to go to the Prairie View.
The 38-yard tip, the hold is good, it's up, and he missed it! Oh my! Off the mark, and we keep on going! The pressure on the freshman kicker. Whoa!
Great use of a timeout by Chennis Berry. Gave the freshman something else to think about, the importance of the kick, and all those demons from years past just pushed that ball by about a foot wide to the right. We ran it back once.
That close for Tremaine Jackson and this Prairie View team as he looked on. And a third OT is on the way. Prairie View will get the ball first in this third overtime. And Jay, ooh, this is going to replay in Panthers fans' minds.
It's supposed to pull, isn't it? Yeah. It's supposed to pull a little bit, but a slight push. If we were outside, I would say the wind got it and pushed it to the right, but we're indoors and just slid past the goalpost. And the suspense builds. Now, if you're Prairie View offensively, you have to forget about that because you start out on offense.
Yeah, and 2-point conversions from this point forward, as we heard Reese tell us, from the third overtime on. Woo. This is bowl season, Jay. We kick it off here in Atlanta, and I'm telling you, it's revved up, full throttle, and here we are.
Cam Peters has been that guy. You know, he's that guy. This is your moment. You know, you gave me credit earlier for being in the Black College Football Hall of Fame because of moments like this. I want the biggest spotlight on me. Cam Peters has played a great football game. Keep the ball in his hands. If the first read is not there, allow him to take off. But I'd take a look at number 11.
And here, Prairie View spending a timeout ahead of their 2-point conversion because why, Jay? You're playing for a natty, okay? The two best teams in HBCU, the champions out of the Southwestern Athletic Conference, led by first-year head coach Tremaine Jackson. And the decision here to spend your timeout before you get going in this third OT?
Stay ahead.
Okay.
You know, they're thinking, okay, let's call the timeout. We see the look we want. If we go out and convert and get our 2-point conversion, then we don't have to worry about stopping it. You know, the pressure goes to South Carolina State to go ahead and make sure they burn the timeout and try and catch them. So the key is you want to get off first. You want to get off first, and anything exotic look they saw.
Bulldog faithful having a good time. Panthers fans on the edge of their seats as the offense back on the field for PV.
Man-to-man coverage here, but their crowd line of scrimmage. Do you have the courage to call the running play?
Watch out for Peters. He looks at the back of the end zone through the hands of one. And it's incomplete as Trayvon Jones along with Andre Dennis in the area.
And they're trying to just get a little rub route with 2 crossing routes. That's been their bread and butter all day. A little bit of poor spacing. Nowhere to go with the football. Help me out, partner. Is this the first time that South Carolina State has been in a position to win this with a walk-off in this game? Prairie View's had a couple chances.
Here is now an opportunity
for South Carolina State. 1 play, walk-off, win it. 1 play, walk-off, and win it.
They're 2 for 2 on the season on 2-point conversions.
The pressure, first time I could say absolutely, the pressure is on this Prairie View A&M defense to come up with a huge play.
A lot of shifting.
I like that. Make them think about it. Didn't work, though.
Stubblefield was looking. He finds Smith and skips it there as it's incomplete. And Stubblefield, along with Smith, trying to take their time a little bit. Appears to be cramping a little bit is Jordan Smith. And we saw him carry a player off the field earlier. Now Jalen Johnson is providing the brace that Smith needs to try to walk it off. All right.
Now, here's the thing, that he's got that cramp. Offense stays on the field for South Carolina State now.
So fourth OT. On the way. Jay.
It's something I'm noticing. They're electing to move the ball this time on the right hash.
Okay.
So they had it on the left hash last time and anticipate some type of rollout throw. Now they're moving it to the right hash. And you have to ask yourself, which one of these teams is going to roll the dice and run the football? Is going to spread them out to try to run, to try to catch the defense slipping.
Starting from the 3, Stubblefield feels pressure into the hands. Did he reach out? Yes! Tyler Smith is in!
Woo, that was close. I would have liked to have seen him extend the football outward, but the official was right there. This right here is going to be close. He catches it about a yard short with room to go. You have to extend. No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir. That's why I thought the anticipation and the extension should have been there. Great job of not giving up on the play by number 23, Cameron Ammo. And this look right here will tell you.
This is a great look. And I think he's going to. Nope.
Not even close.
So they're going to take a look at this because we saw.
It was ruled a touchdown.
A signal
that one
was
looks
a
close.
touchdown.
Jerry, if it even gets a pinch, I'm going to call it a pinch of that pylon. I saw a little pinch of the pylon possibly. What did you see, Jerry?
I'll tell you, it is extremely close. But, you know, what we have to realize is the ruling on the field is a touchdown.
The ruling on the field is a score. The previous play is under video review.
He only gets goal line extended if he touches somewhere in the end zone or if he touches the pylon. And I don't see him. He definitely touch in the end zone. He's not touching the pylon. So that means the ball has to break the plane of the goal line inside of the pylon.
Inside the pylon. So I think we see clearly the ball is on the outside of the pylon. I thought right here, did he get just a little pinch? Does it go over the pylon?
That has to be inside the pylon. The pylon is OB, it's out of bounds.
So the pylon is OB, so it has to be inside. If that's the case, and they should pick that up then.
They should pick it up. But they need indisputable video evidence that it's not. To me, I think it's out.
Should I believe you or my lying eyes? My lying eyes say that that's out.
Jay, we've known each other for.
We've seen crazier calls, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Yes, we have.
Terry McGinn, our rules expert here. And just again, the ruling on the field, that was the 2-point conversion was good. You heard Terry say it's got to be indisputable evidence. And I think this is going to be wiped off.
And hats off to Cameron Ammo. Number 23, not giving up on that play. Knowing when you get beat, it looks closer there though. But knowing when you get beat, you kind of give up. But he played through the whistle because you figure you catch the ball on the 1-yard line, leave your feet, leverage, threw his shoulder and body in there. They're looking at this a long time. Might this stand because of how long it's taken, Jerry? That's what I'm starting to think.
Well, they know it's a very important play here, so they're going to take a little extra time. I mean, these guys have been really good all game long, so they don't want to.
The ruling on the field is upheld. The score is
good. See?
Oh, my goodness.
Welcome to my world, Jerry.
I think it just lies on the fact that there's not indisputable video evidence, so they're just going to stay with the call on the field.
Wow. So the plot thickens like Dickens, reminiscent of Charles. After that one, it's upheld.
And this was a play in real speed. Looks like he's going in easy, but a good hit. Late extension, but he was rewarded. The call on the field, I think, helped him out. Oh, boy.
Okay, Prairie View A&M must convert or it's over. down to this, right here. Cam Peters looking, and that's it! South Carolina State held on to win it! They are the HBCU National Champions for 2025! Second time in 5 years for the Bulldogs. And what a way to end it. 4 overtimes, and Chennis Berry giving praise and thanks, getting over the hump.
How did South Carolina State come back from down 21-0, show the grit, will, determination, and come back and win this football game? Oh my, and I know that's what Chennis Berry's thinking right now, Coach Berry. What did I just coach? How did I just coach it? Why are we so fortunate? What a football game.
And now today's Capital One player of the game, Ryan Stubblefield, the backup quarterback, coming in relief for Billy Atkins IV. We saw 3 touchdowns from him, along with the 2-point conversion. And oh my goodness, this is a Cricket Celebration Bowl for the books. 4 OTs, and what a way to start off bowl season. Hats off to Prairie View A&M in one heck of a season. We've got the Capital One post-game performance coming up, but for now, we'll send it to the studio.